Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Sean Bell.
Hello.
And Matt Murray.
Hello.
We would like to start the show as we usually start the show by thanking our Patreon producers for this month. They are Aaron, Patrick, Full Nels, Anthony Oakenson, Full Nels, Tom S, Full Nels, and Simon Full Nels Nelson. Thank you so much for signing up to our Patreon on www.patreon.com/TCGS at the top tier for the Patreon producer credits. But there are various different tiers on there. Be sure to check them out. Go to our Patreon site, and any support that you send our way is very much appreciated. Let's get straight into feedback, Matt. I'm feeling just like ready to just get rolling without any of this. Are you all right, guys? We know we're not. So let's get going.
We're here to do a job. Let's just fuck the pleasantries.
Fucking good job, though, Sean. A fucking good one. Go on, feedback.
I'm going to start on a bit of an interesting note. Darren Gargett, dear Matt, I'm disgusted at you gating your island off from your community and friends. Logging onto a website and sitting in a queue is a shameful position to put people in. We've got enough shit queuing going on in the world with this COVID bullshit, and all you did was add up and make a slow day even slower for your community and friends. Up your ass. I'll explain about this. This is because last week I had some incredible... Well, actually, they weren't even that great prices, but I had like good turnip prices on Animal Crossing. And so there's this website called Turnip Exchange where you can basically create you basically set your island up on that thing and you put your dodo code in, and it basically creates an online queue rather than you having to, let people in and out and everyone just, attempting to go in, but they can't because it says busy. So I put it on that, and Dan wasn't happy. I mean, here's my response. Gating on off from the community, no. And I'll start with friends, no, because I let, you boys in first, and then I a couple of other people know who are playing the game. I said, I've got a good price, you get in, and then I obviously, dropped in the Discord in like the incredibly active Animal Crossing channel on our Discord. They all had a go, and then I thought, well, I might as well do that because it's incredibly annoying, as we all know. Nintendo's online services are an absolute joke, and when people are like, oh, have you got a dodo code, and you give it to someone, and actually it's busy or they can't get in, and it's just like, it's just a nightmare. So this Turnip Exchange website someone told me about, I think on Rollmark actually, and it's great because you don't have to do anything. You can limit how many people can come on at any one time, so no one's setting it's busy or it's full. They get notified when they can go in. It saves everyone time and effort and money. Not money, time and effort. So there you go, Darren. And I was basically doing it for like 10 hours from like 12 till 10.
Why?
I don't know, I just thought I would. Because other people are like, is your thing still open? I'm like, yeah, go on in. And then, I just thought I'd share the wealth.
We were talking about turnip prices in the WhatsApp group recently, and Matt showed me this website. It's horrendous. It's horrific. I hate it. I hate it.
What's your issue with it?
Well, firstly, right, that website is making $7,000 a month from Patreon subscribers, right? by from your island, right? They're making real money.
They don't just do this; they do other things. It's just that this is another service they provide.
Go on.
I don't know, either Twitch stuff or YouTube stuff. I don't know. I looked at the Patreon.
I don't know. It just says for the Turnip Exchange, here's our Patreon. Do you know why people are paying them money?
I think they get to jump a queue,
skip the queue. Yeah. They get to skip the queue.
I think you can create unlimited islands and stuff.
They've set up a system where you queue up to get on someone else's island that they've got no, hand in, whatever, and they're saying, give us a bit of money and we'll let you skip the queue as well. This whole turnip thing is awful. It was what we were talking about last week. Was it last week or the week before? We're doing this thing where we're just saying, we're just keeping it to our islands. So we're talking to each other about our turnip prices. That's it. It's just our islands. That's for me. That is just great fun because it's like, should we sell now? Should we hold on to them? Oh, what are we going to do? And we're talking about it quite regularly. But like the idea that surely turning this part of the game into, if you just sign up to this website, you're guaranteed to sell them for 500 bells anyway. Like, what's the point? I don't understand the point. I don't get it.
Does seem to take the fun out of it. Like, do we want to get into this?
What he liked about that side of it last week was that he enjoyed the chase, but this removes the chase.
Yeah, because like we're using like trackers and stuff, right? So
yeah, I was going to say I wasn't chasing. This is my island.
Okay. But
have you used that app?
No, God, no. Well, I don't need to because there's so many people on Discord. So, like, everyone. So
you
just
find someone who's got a good rate.
Yeah, everyone Discord's
what we're doing is like, so I'm using like Turnip Profit. So
I use that as well,
put in your prices as it goes, and then it's sort of as the week goes on, it gets a firmer idea of like it can calculate what your prices are going to be later in the week, and that is still cheating to an extent. But to me, that's still really exciting because this
really
week.
Fun,
so this week it's like, so from Monday, I've been putting the prices in as we go, and it was basically Monday evening, it was like, basically there's a 70% chance that you're going to get a massive spike and 30% chance that you won't. And it was still like, fuck, this is really exciting. And then they put this morning's price in, and then it was like, there's now an 85% chance that you're going to get a big spike. And it's like, fuck. And now it's guaranteed for tomorrow morning, so I'm really fucking excited. And I'm like, but then, I can't imagine bothering to like open it up to like total strangers. Like, obviously I'll let you guys in first and then like other friends and stuff, and then maybe I'll post in the Discord, but I think that's it for me. I can't be arsed.
But sitting there like I don't know, okay, whatever you want to do with your time is fine,
but
it, to me,
in terms of like,
it's the Go on.
No, I mean, Darren's comment was almost saying tongue in cheek, but I open up to friends and the community, and then Rollmark and all sorts. So, and it was like, I feel like I've done my bit now. I'm probably not going to do it again. If I get a big price again, I'll do it. The thing is, even in the Discord, you'd have to start a queue of some sort because Evan like, it's too busy. I can't get in now, and it's annoying. So, but I'll probably just keep it to Discord in the future because it's too much. But I've loved on Rollmuck like going to other people's islands, and it's like a massive, really active community over there and sharing fossils and stuff. And I love that sort of part of it. But I haven't used this Turnip Exchange. That's the first I'd heard about it, so I thought it'd be an easy way because it basically manages all the queue stuff for you rather than you having to do it yourself and saying, I'll add you to the queue, or I can't now because there's 4 people in now and it'd be busy. And no, that'd be horrendous. This basically does it for you.
Did you set it up private? Is that it? You didn't make it public?
I did public at first, and then I turned it off because it was just getting too much. And then I did private and shared that link to like Discord and Rollmark and stuff. Yeah, everyone's really thankful. It was awesome. I feel like I've done my bit now. I'm engaged in that part of the game, and
did you get any free shit?
I did. I mean, basically, I said no. I don't want any bells because I've got enough bells. But I haven't redecorated my house. So any odd things you've got for like kitchen, bathroom, just leave anything. And then I got loads of stuff. I'm still sorting through it now. It's awesome actually. It's like because I got so much stuff over the day. I didn't even have a chance to check it. I was like picking it up, putting it in the house and stuff. It was awesome. At the end of the day, after basically 10 hours or so of like looking at it, managing it, seeing who's in, seeing who's out, saying, I've got this. I can use this now. So yeah, it was awesome. And then people like were really thankful.
There's still part of me just thinking, is this like, aren't you supposed to collect that shit? Like work towards building a collection rather than just like that website. When I looked at it, the first thing I thought of, it was like a website that you could hook Crackdown up to, and it would show you where your orbs were. You know what I mean? It would calculate which orbs you picked up and told you where the other ones were. Well, and I was
the funny thing is,
like,
this like saves so much stress with like Nintendo's way they've done online. Like because it just lets people in when they're allowed, when they can go in, rather than. I don't know. It was just a lot easier. It's definitely a way I'll do it if I were to do it in the future, but I'm probably not going to do that because it's too much stress. But anyway,
sounds like
the community and
stress.
friends, they got their good prices, and then I've done my bit.
Okay, all right. Well, I've got a few Animal Crossing stories to tell today, but we'll keep them brief because we have mentioned it constantly since release.
I was going to say, a lot of people have probably turned off this episode already, so let's...
Right, okay, let's go to the next bit of feedback.
Greg Shepherd, Matt said he was interested in wanting Advent Children. This is regarding Final Fantasy VII, of course, but didn't want to in case it spoiled the game. That's not the reason to watch it. Matt, well, no, it is. It happens after Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's after.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was thinking that other one, the Spirits one, which was
Spirits Within.
Spirits Within. Yeah.
No.
Also, not very.
The one that nearly destroyed Square. Yeah.
Greg says that's not the reason to watch it. Matt shouldn't watch it because it's fucking shit. Everything they did to Final Fantasy VII after the original game is not just bad, but it actively makes everything worse through its retcons. But Advent Children really is the pit. It's start to end no more bullshit to the point where you could potentially watch it and not spoil Final Fantasy VII because it's such badly written bullshit. Its only saving grace is that its looks and 15-year-old CG doesn't look. It doesn't look so good. Yeah, so its only saving grace was its looks, and now the 15-year-old CG doesn't look so good these days. Yeah, after that discussion last week, I've just decided I'm not going to listen to any spoiler casts. If I'm going to play it, I'll have to play the original game. But it's a shame. But there you go.
I watched Advent Children back in the day, and like having not finished the game, and it's absolutely incomprehensible. It did look great at the time, but load of nonsense.
Did you see that in the Discord when they were talking about you playing the original game again, Matt?
Well, I saw some people say, you should have streamed that first. Like, I'm not going to find 80 hours to quickly squeeze it in for the remake.
Yeah.
Someone turned around and said, "Oh no, the newer versions are great because it lets you
skip. It's like 300% speed or something. There's no free."
No, they were saying it's great because there's a button where you can just go invincible to get past certain battles.
Great.
Well, you're not making the game sound great.
Well, this is what we said last week. It's like all of that
stuff
is just admitting that actually the original game probably wasn't as good as probably people think. Like in terms of combat design.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think people think it was good for different reasons other than the combat and the grinding and stuff like that. So I get that, but you weren't defending it too well, were they? It's that's pretty indefensible.
Gary Dutton. Tweeted in, after hearing James roaring with indignation about KK Slider's music being rubbish, I decided to listen to his recommendation, KK Fair. Is James alright, and has he heard music before? I mean, famously not.
It's brilliant. It's it's a good track.
It's one of those ones. It's one of those songs that people go, it's brilliant, isn't it? And then you listen to it and go, right, yeah, it's really shit. I get it now. Fine. You're saying that to you're trying to be. All right,
Alex.
He sent it to me. I put it on. I was like, "What the fuck, James?"
Yeah, I felt bad because obviously he sent it us to be kind, and I put it on. I was like, I
did wonder because I was like, I sent it to all of you, and then nothing. Silence.
Yeah, sorry.
No one replied, and you just
I was angry. I was really angry.
Screw the lot of you. It's a great track.
Go fuck yourself, James, because you keep sending me toilets that are not toilets.
I did send you toilets. You said you wanted a toilet, so I sent you a toilet. I've sent you 2 toilets now, and neither of them have been good enough.
One of them's a urinal. Yeah. The other one's
a toilet.
The other toilet.
The other one's a squat toilet.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the squat toilet. It's more hygienic.
You can't relax on it though, can you?
No, but it's more hygienic.
Also, James, you have told me privately away from this show that you absolutely can't understand the use of squat toilets and they're horrible and you hate using them. So don't give me any of that bollocks, all right? Come on.
Alex M29 UK. Crysis was one of the best first-person shooter games in the last 20 years. It got universally excellent reviews and people have been asking for a remaster for years too. Genuinely surprised it's such a blind spot for you all. Definitely give it a go when it comes out.
I'm genuinely surprised that you think it's one of the best first-person shooters in 20 years. Is it?
I've not heard many people. I mean, not heard many people.
At the time, maybe it was like, this is different.
I've never heard anyone describe it like in terms of the gameplay and thing, apart from just looking good. That's all I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's all I've heard as well. I mean, I played Crysis, I think once. The game I was talking about the other day didn't have a subtitle. It was literally Crysis 2 because I went and watched the gameplay video of it and I was like, oh yeah, it wasn't amazing. It's just Central Park.
Great.
So yeah, it was Central Park, wasn't it? I think that's where it was set. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's pretty sure it's New York. It was an American city, and let's face it, If it wasn't San Francisco, which goes all up and downy, then it doesn't matter, does it? It could be any of the others.
Has it got trams? No, it's New York then. Go on.
We're going to end with Lars Hedderdam. Hi guys, hope you're all.
Are we, Matt?
I don't
You're
think we should,
skipping one
Matt.
there.
I mean, I think we should probably have a look at what Alex has also got to say about
Oh, sorry,
Super Metroid.
I went straight on to another one. Yeah, okay. Alex continues. Also, I played and finished Super Metroid for the first time ever on Switch last year. After playing Hollow Knight, Guacamelee, and loads of other Metroidvanias, I thought it was fantastic. I felt it was fresh today, as it must have been back in the 90s.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Matt?
I think Alex is high.
Wait, hold on. Has Matt got Matt, have you got this Metroid down in what you've been playing?
I mean, I can talk about it. Yeah, I finished it on the weekend. So,
The answer's no, Dave. The answer's no. He hasn't put it in his list.
Right, okay.
He hasn't, no.
Well, let's talk about it now, quick. So, you hate it then, right?
Yeah, basically by the end, yeah, hated it.
What do you mean? What changed from last week?
I mean, the things I mentioned last week are still there, but the annoyances sort of outweigh that.
Matt, the only thing that you said you liked
all
last
along.
week is music.
Well, yeah, the music's amazing, but the controls just killed it. And last week I was like, it was just. There's some point towards the end I was like, I don't even want to play this, and I was basically about 10 minutes from the end.
You weren't playing it, Matt. I've watched the stream. I was sitting there.
Before you go on that, does that feel better? Like you played the game and you hated it. That's fine. Just, tell us, why did you hate it? What frustrated you about it? I'm really interested to hear your reaction to it. It doesn't mean anything.
I mean,
like
yeah,
in terms of
the controls killed it for me for sure. But towards the end, it's like, the last section before you get, as you're on your way to the final boss, is just the designer saying, how can we make this as annoying as possible? Like you have to shoot these things, basically, essentially these like glass bits that block a doorway. You smash them, shoot them a few times, they break. You keep going through a few more barriers like that. And as you're trying to shoot these bits of glass, there's just lots of enemies just hitting you and not taking down your health, just slightly moving you every time. It's like they couldn't have made it more fucking annoying if they had tried. It's like you've got what looks like bloody spaghetti hoops, hitting you at all angles, and you hear a little bloop, and you get slightly moved, and then you can't, and you have to redo your aim to shoot these things, and then you got this other. It's just like, what's the point? This isn't good. This is just bad.
Thing is, though, you weren't actually struggling with that bit, though. You were getting through it every time.
No, I wasn't struggling. I was just annoyed.
Okay. But the bit after do we need to worry about spoiling Super Metroid? It's cool.
Right.
No.
It's a cool ending, but yeah. So you defeat the main boss, and then there's a really cool bit where the Metroid turns up, and
yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and because it thinks you're its mum because you nicked it when it was a little larvae, it basically sort of looks like it kills the final boss and then gives you all of its energy, but then the boss comes back to life, kills the Metroid, but you're all fucking supercharged and you beat the shit out of the boss, and it's really cool. And then there's an escape sequence.
Oh god,
which that's meant to be just like a fun little hey, let's just sprint through here and win.
You're
like
I'm
super powered now.
Yeah, you're like massively overpowered.
Yeah,
and you just have to run away. That's it.
Well, no, but I didn't die. I just got lost in the maze.
There's not.
It took you 3 attempts.
Well, yeah. Well, I thought it was a maze
because you forgot how to do the super jump, which apparently the proper name is Shine Spark.
Well, I've only done it like once in the game up to now, but yeah, I mean that's true.
I mean, you can. There are more opportunities to do it.
Yeah, I
when
didn't
you go
need to do it
exploring and stuff. And the game does teach you how to do it, and you forgot. So that was
three streams ago.
That was one bit. And then when you finally did get up to the end of that room, you just ran away from the door.
Yeah, I didn't see the door there. I was like so panicking because there's a countdown. I was like, I need to get out. And then I thought, maybe it's left. And then it wasn't left, and I died. And then another time I got I was like, what? I can maybe 15 seconds away from the end, but I died, and I had to do the boss again. Oh god. Anyway, that was
when you were doing the boss,
off.
even on the second and third attempts, you were saving all your super missiles. What for?
Yeah, I totally forgot that they I forgot that they take it off you. Well, no,
honestly, I've never seen anything like it. I was watching it and I was amazed. And I'm not surprised you didn't like it because it's pretty clear that you didn't know how to control the game. Like, honestly, I was watching towards the end. You were like, Matt, you were still playing with analog controls, weren't you? I'm convinced you must have been doing that.
I was playing with D-pad by then. On the last
I
stream,
can't believe that. You were running into rooms, right? And there's like a platform. You were like running into the room and then just immediately just running into lava. And I'm just thinking, how do you do that? Like, how does that happen?
The controls are gash, James. That's why.
They're not that bad. They're not at all.
I never liked the controls. It's just
also,
that killed the game.
When you were being attacked by those by the Metroids that are like coming and like grabbing onto you.
Oh, that was fucking annoying as well. Yeah,
but then what the fuck were you doing with those bombs? You're like dropping bombs and then rolling away from them because there's no way that they're going to do any good. I just don't understand
that would seem the only way to. I couldn't find a way to actually kill those things once they're on you. So everyone's like, well, you just have to kill them before they get on you. But once they're on you, then what do you do?
It was so stressful watching it because I was just
imagine playing it, James. Imagine streaming it.
He has played it, to be fair.
Yeah, horrendous.
Yeah, no, I mean that whole stream is on our YouTube channel.
Thank God it's over.
I think Matt's words were when he completed it. I think this has proven to me that all the Metroidvania games that I like, I actually didn't like, and I never want to play a Metroidvania game again.
Yeah, I'll be interested to play another one and think, oh, hang on, maybe has that just killed every Metroidvania for me because I just hated it.
But you didn't like exploring, Matt. There were like the amount of times you were just like, "Oh, I wish it'd just tell me where to go." It's not the point.
There's also that, and then also that bit that you're moaning about at the end with that final boss, right, where you've got to smash those things. Those things are not difficult to avoid, but you're just standing there and letting them hit you.
There's a million things to hit you. It's like
but they're all going to a pattern. You just watch the pattern and then just avoid it.
Nah, fuck it. Fuck that game. I did it, but thank God it's over. Thank God it's over.
Do you know what? Yeah. I'm so happy you're saying that, Matt. Genuinely, because I think, and maybe I was wrong, but I think it was obvious that you weren't enjoying it from the get-go, right?
No. I think the get-go was, and now I was like, you know.
Yeah, like the first 10 minutes? You were pretty down on it early on, I'd say.
I'm just saying,
but, regardless, you actually coming out and just saying that you fucking hated it and you never want to see that game again, it's good to hear. It is good to hear.
Yeah, because this is like, to be clear, Matt, I'm not like you know what was like about the whole Sekiro thing. I'm not just ragging on you for like being bad at it. It was just the fact. I don't know. It's just the way you sort of insisting that you liked it when it just clearly wasn't working, which is fine. Like,
well, I just find it hard to hate things until.
Is it fine, James? Is it fine? Because it doesn't sound like it's fine to you, mate.
No, it's not fine. No, I am ragging on you about the controls because I can't believe that you didn't learn them in like the whole time you were playing the game.
But I was only playing once a week, and like every week I was like, fucking hell, these shit controls. And in fact, let's get to Louis Proctor's tweet. Something that may be of interest to you guys or listeners is that this Super Metroid ROM hack that somewhat modernises the controls, kind of in line with the subsequent GBA games. So even they admit the controls are gash and they need to be reworked, and they were reworked.
You're going to stream it again with the new controls, yeah?
Absolutely not. I don't want to see that game. Fuck that. We're going to end now with Lars Headerdam. Hi, guys. Hope you're still well and sane. Thank you for another great podcast. Here's some feedback. James ended his new segment with what might be his new catchphrase last week, trailing off with, I don't know, I don't care. With a sort of Anchorman situation, with Matt being the annoying sportscaster constantly interrupting the actual news with horns and hey. It's very sobering with James ending the news with, this have been the news. I've been Dr. James Farley and I don't care. Good night, plebs. Maybe
I don't even remember saying that. What was that about?
I guarantee that's not the only time that you've ended the news with that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, James should become a professional news anchor for a day just to see what happens. We should be able to work that out. You know what I mean? Get on the phone to someone.
Yeah, even if it's like a local radio station, and James can. Oh, that'd be great.
Even just, don't we know the head of World News at GameSpot? Can't we get him to just present that for one episode? I don't know, fucking. That'd be so
There's been some news, but It's not very interesting, is it?
No, whatever.
Right. Well, speaking of which, should we get onto the news?
Yeah, I've got some news. So the first bit of news is
Cool.
that Nintendo have confirmed that up to 160,000 accounts have been accessed in a data breach.
Ouch.
Yeah. So if you were affected, then they would have got like nicknames, email, date of birth, gender, country, region, and all that kind of thing. And apparently it was all viewable by a third party. But they didn't get credit cards, although Eurogamer said that some people had contacted them about linked payment methods being used for unauthorised
PayPal
purchases.
specifically, right?
Yeah, and this was mostly PayPal, and it turns out that people have been using it to buy like Fortnight V-Bucks and stuff like that. So,
Of course.
yeah.
Got to get them bucks.
So at the moment, Nintendo says that it wasn't their own databases, like they haven't been accessed, and it was all done through like it's through accounts accessed like obtained elsewhere. So presumably that's people just trying to log in, isn't it, and then getting lucky or whatever, or
Yeah.
doing it that way.
So the idea is they've hacked some other website that has a bunch of email addresses and passwords linked to it,
Yeah,
and they try those email and passwords on various different systems, right? That was kind of what the whole rumour about House Party was all about. Do you remember when everyone was saying House Party was hacked? Because that week I also had my Steam. Someone tried to attempt to get into my Steam.
Yeah,
with
loads
the
of people
correct
mentioning
email
their
and
their
login and stuff
Netflix
like
as
that.
well was being hacked, and yeah, so it's
Yeah,
a bunch
whether
of
or not
websites.
that was House Party, I don't know. That's what everyone was saying, but they strongly denied that. But it was strange how it could have been anything, but suddenly there was a big data breach somewhere, and maybe there's some sort of link to that as well. Thinking about it. Not saying that this is a House Party app hack because that's not been proven and they've always denied it. So, but it could be from somewhere that this is all spread out from.
Well, there's also been Zoom as well. Like that's been like there's been hacks with that as well, and all sorts of a lot. I mean, recently there's been loads of these. I think because people have been doing a lot more stuff online, haven't they, with video conferencing and things. And more
and the
people signing up
important
for
thing
stuff.
is that you just unlink your PayPal account. Make sure. I mean, I haven't had my PSN account tied to a credit card or payment method since
absolutely not.
they
Yeah,
had
me
their
too.
big breach. Yeah.
Yeah, many years.
So so now it'd just be the same way with Nintendo Online. I think. I think I've taken it off for the Xbox as well. So it's not a bad way of doing it. Linking payment methods to stuff is always a little bit risky. You never know what's going to happen in the future.
So, I mean, Nintendo have made a statement, and they've said, as one action in our ongoing investigation, we are discontinuing the ability to use a Nintendo Network ID to sign into a Nintendo account. All other options to sign into a Nintendo account remain available. As a further precaution, we will soon contact users about resetting passwords of people that have been accessed without authorization. I mean, this is all. They've also obviously told people to switch on two-step verification, for accounts. I mean, obviously you should just do that as a matter of course. But this is also one of the things that I think is interesting with the Nintendo account thing, because they had that whole thing because they had so many different types of accounts, didn't they, over the last few years? There was tons of them. There was loads of different ones, and then they decided to unify it all into one sort of thing, but then you could still access your main account through all these different other ones that they were running before. And that does sound like a kind of a security nightmare. There's so many sort of vectors of attack, essentially.
So the Nintendo Network ID, was that primarily from the DS, the 3DS, or the Wii U?
No,
I don't think I had
that
one.
was that was Wii U era, and
Wii U,
3DS they had one of those. Yeah, it's So there you go. So that's. I mean, it looks like they're fixing it. So just switch on two-step authentication. You should. The next story is that Splatoon 2 is getting another one-off Splatfest. And so it's been 9 months since the final one, and they're going to do another one on the 23rd of May in the UK.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because they're just repeating one.
Yeah, I was disappointed about this.
I thought, this is going to be a really special one. Maybe this is tied into, what everyone's going through at the moment.
Like face mask or not? Is that?
No, I was thinking, how are they, why now? And how are they, there must be a reason. They must make this relevant.
I think it's because they're releasing a demo client soon as well, around the same sort of time. So I think maybe they're just trying to boost people to, maybe be interested in buying it again or something, which is weird.
A demo client, sorry. What do you mean?
Well, there's a demo client coming out where you can try out like Turf War, Rank Battle, and Salmon Run and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right, yeah, like a separate download with a few bits on it.
Yeah, for people that haven't got it.
Yeah, maybe, but like fucking pick a new thing.
Yeah.
Like if you want people to play it, like pick a new thing. What is it again? It's tomato ketchup versus mayonnaise again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Why?
It's the biggest choice of our generation, Dave. So
It was one of the least interesting ones as well.
But I think it was.
I don't know.
I think
it was
the
pretty
most.
fun at the time.
I think it was the most popular though in terms of engagement, like people actually doing it. I don't know.
maybe,
I can't believe that this got a people's vote. How did this get a second one?
Yeah. We'll see what happens when the referendum gets the next second go.
I'm sorry. Do we know which one won originally? Oh yeah, Mayo won.
No.
Right. If ketchup wins. Like, what does that mean? We'll do a third. Is that what you want? Yeah.
Not just keep going back to
Yeah, just keep going around. Like, yes, people are more informed now. I don't care. They chose mayonnaise. Stick with the original decision. Let's just get on with it. I'm sick of this.
Not another one. I just kind of think that, they had an opportunity to just pick a completely new subject that might be interesting and fun. Instead, they've just done this one again. It's such a weird decision.
But also,
it is like classic Nintendo, isn't it? Oh, cool! They're bringing Splatfest back for a one-off special. That seems like a really cool idea. Oh, right, okay. It's Nintendo,
especially because there's so little. I fucking love Splatfest. I think it's such a good idea, and I think a lot of the the things you have to choose between are really smart choices because they're things that no one really cares about. But I'm a Mayo guy, and if someone told me they were Team Ketchup, it's right. Fuck you. I'll see you on the battlefield. Whatever. It's fine. It's sort of nonsense enough that you can sort of pretend to get annoyed about it. But in terms of the actual effort involved in just coming up with a new one. It's not a lot, is it? It's just some images for each team, a colour for their ink, and then maybe some dialogue for some of the characters, depending on who wins and who loses. And that's it. That's all it would take to make a new one. So it is a bit shit that they've just repeated one. But I mean, I'll take an excuse to load up Splatoon 2 again. It's a good game.
Unless there is going to be something coming, like a new Splatoon or something coming, like
maybe
soonish.
Yeah. What?
Well, no, it's just
a new Splatoon. You reckon?
I wouldn't be surprised at all because it was massively successful. If they're working on a third one, it's still a really big game. So,
and to be fair, Splatoon 2 was a bit sort of Splatoon 1.5, wasn't it? It was a bit of a look. This came out on the Wii U and was great, but no one played it.
I'd be surprised if they brought out Splatoon 3 already.
Really?
It's been a couple of years, man.
It's been 3 years or so, since it came out. Yeah. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, okay, but they've got plenty of games that that have been longer than 3 years for a sequel.
Yeah, but,
right?
but because this was mostly 0.5, maybe they were already working on Splatoon 3 alongside it, or at the same time they put it out quickly on the new platform.
Give us fucking F-Zero, you fucks.
There's more chance of Splatoon 3 coming than many other Nintendo games. I think it's really huge. It's really big.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not big. Yeah. I'm just saying, all right, let's focus on something else. Then bring the little Squidman back. All right. Okay, cool.
Okay, Epic have finally given in to Google and have released Fortnite on the Play Store. So this is 18 months after they released it as a third-party download outside of the official mobile app. And now Epic have said that they're doing this because Google puts third-party software at a disadvantage because it warns users of potential security issues. That they're saying may not exist, and then makes it look like it could be malware, because of this. I mean, this is what Epic said. They said, after 18 months of operating Fortnite on Android outside of the Google Play Store, we've come to a basic realisation. Google puts software downloadable outside of Google Play at a disadvantage through technical and business measures such as scary, repetitive security pop-ups for downloaded and updated software, restrictive manufacturer and carrier agreements and dealings. Google Public Relations characterising third-party software sources as malware, and new efforts such as Google Play Protect to outright block software obtained outside the Google Play Store. Yeah.
I mean, is that a bad thing?
This is the thing. I mean, I saw this, and I don't okay, the only reason I think that Epic are annoyed about this is because they don't want to pay the 30% cut.
Yeah,
that's the only
absolutely.
reason. It's nothing to do with with anything else apart from the fact they don't want to pay Google any money.
No, of course not.
We can talk about like the 30% and how much that is, but I don't think it's terribly unreasonable for Google or Apple to charge money to have stuff on their store, seeing as that they're offering like security through that, in terms of like you're guaranteed like no malware, all that kind of stuff. They're having to like run all the servers, all that kind of thing. I don't see that it's so unreasonable for them to do this.
30% does seem a bit high, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could talk about the amount, but I still think them saying that they want to take a cut of the purchase of being on their store, I don't see what's so outrageous about that.
Yeah, and like them being offended by, so Google Public Relations characterising third-party software sources as malware. It's like, well, yeah, because you've got to warn most people about that. Most people aren't clever enough to be like, to figure out what's going to be dodgy and what isn't. Most smart people aren't. Like, it's really tough sometimes. If you're going to start installing like unofficial shit on your phone, there is a very real chance you're going to fuck it up. So, and Google can't just say like, oh, well, there's risks with, installing third-party stuff, unless it's from Epic, they're cool. Like, they can't do that. It's not reasonable.
It was really strange when Jo got an Android phone. She switched from iOS to Android, and I've used iOS since the iPhone 3G. And when I started looking at her phone, and she said she wanted this app and that app or whatever, and just noticing that you could just like go to a website and download an app onto your phone, I was like, what? What the fuck? Yeah. It shows how restricted the iOS thing is. So maybe I'm conditioned to not worry about this. It's the same with Macs as well. If you're downloading software from just a website, your Mac goes, nah.
No, it does.
You
can still do it.
You can turn it off.
You can still do it, but you got to go into your settings, into your privacy settings, hit a little padlock, put your password in, say, I do definitely want this, and then it runs it. Yeah. So, but it is initially, it's like, nah, you're all right, mate. Don't worry about that. Go to the App Store. Yeah.
You see, I was just going to say the only like unofficial thing I've got installed on my phone, I think, is a version of YouTube with no ads on it.
All right.
But I think that's it.
How do I get that? That's what I want to know. Sorry, JD. I like, the thing is, right, I can kind of see why people would say that these warning messages could be viewed as a way to force people to use their shop and in turn get a profit, get a cut of their profits, right? I get that, but at the same time, I fully understand why these messages have to flash up. So I think Epic is I think they're throwing the toys out of the pram a little bit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And and they're not the first. Like Amazon famously, so like when they bought Comixology, which if you're not aware is a really good comics app for your phone or tablet or whatever. It's on iOS and Android. And you used to be able to just buy comics through the app, right? So you'd so even though the app came through the App Store or the Play Store or whatever, you would then create a Comixology account within the app and then put payment details into that, and then you'd buy stuff, right? And then so Google and Apple were still taking a cut of those sales. Amazon bought it and went, right, no, you can't buy stuff through the app anymore. You have to do it on the Comixology website. So you could still browse the store in the app, and you could favourite things, and then you'd have to go to your web browser and go, here's the things you favourited, okay, add to cart, and then you're buying them through Amazon instead. And, I mean, Amazon are obviously not stupid. They're quite good at making money, so I'm not telling them they've made a mistake. But personally, for me, it meant that I stopped buying stuff on Comixology because it made it a pain in the arse.
Yeah, I mean, up until recently, and this is only a very, very recent change, you couldn't actually rent any movies through the Prime app or do anything, because again you had to go to the website. But I think in the last month or so they've changed that. So now
they did the same, because Apple have done the same thing, haven't they? Because they've done like a deal with Apple where it's like they're now like they created some new tier now for like they call like preferred partners or something like that. Where they're still obviously taking a cut, but probably it's like less or something like that because they're massive. But it's I mean, do you want to hear Epic's?
Go on, sorry. Yeah.
Do you want to hear Epic's sick burn that they had at the
please.
end? We hope that Google will revise its policies and business dealings in the near future so that all developers are free to reach and engage in commerce with customers on Android and in the Play Store through open services, including payment services, that can compete on a level playing field. It's not really a sick burn. It's but yeah, they just hope that's
they don't. They don't give a fuck about anyone else, do they? Like, let's be fair. Oh, I hope other people can benefit from the revising their policies. No, you don't. You don't care, Epic. This is also very different from the Epic that we usually hear from, where there's a big controversial blow up, and then Epic comes out with a statement: "We're fine with this, guys." It's like, yeah, all right, Epic, fuck off. No, it's a tricky one, but I get why Google and Apple take that standpoint, because at the end of the day, if someone downloaded a fake version of Fortnite to their phone and it put malware on your phone and completely corrupted your device or stole your bank details or whatever, you'd be turning to Google and saying, why the fuck am I allowed to download this virus onto my phone that's causing... And they'll be like, well, we can't control that shit. So, yeah, I get it. All right.
Okay. Also, there's been some movement on Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima because they both.
Has there?
Yeah.
I mean, they both got release dates now. So Last of Us Part 2 is coming on June 19th, and Ghost of Tsushima is being delayed, but it's now coming July 17th. But then also a bunch of images have been shared online of The Last of Us 2 spoiling stuff.
Right, who knows the most about this story? Because it's been fascinating, and I've only heard bits and pieces.
I think the problem is that there's only bits and pieces to be known, right? It's all a bit... There's like bits of information flying around. I don't think there's an actual firm story. Isn't there... Basically, the rumour is that a disgruntled employee, possibly ex-contractor, has leaked the stuff, because apparently they've said the footage or the stills that have been released, apparently it's been confirmed they're from early March. And allegedly it's an employee that was disgruntled over either a pay dispute, which is, I think we're not clear on if it's the amount they're being paid, or possibly it's an issue of withheld bonuses, because obviously the game was meant to be out and employees were expecting bonuses to be paid by now based on, performance, but that's all been withheld. There's zero clarity on any of this as far as I'm aware. I mean, the story's plausible because... it is and it isn't, because on the one hand, you'd have to be stupid to leak this stuff in any way that, allows you to be identified. If it is true that it's a disgruntled employee, and obviously that rumour has come about because people have an idea of who it is, and it must be fairly easy to find out unless they've been incredibly clever about it, that person is fucking doomed. Their career's over. The
lawsuits would
be the legal.
But you can't imagine if you're doing that and they're a contract. If the rumor is true about being a contractor, they would do it because they feel like they know the system and they know what they would have to do to leak it without getting caught.
Possibly,
but it is incredibly risky.
You wouldn't assume that. I mean, you'd. I wouldn't say hope that, but
people.
I don't think you could assume that. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Especially if they, they're convinced that this is a moral thing. They think they're doing their colleagues a favour. I don't know if many of the colleagues would feel the same way. But overall, I find that story more plausible than it was a hack, because obviously, Naughty Dog would come out and just say, we are the victims of a hack, and feel bad for us, but they haven't said that, have they? They've not.
No. It's very clear that it's a leak of some description.
Yeah. Plus, if it was a hack, someone would be taking credit for it, most likely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the thing is, these images show very important plot points.
So I thought you were just going to fucking say it then. I was like, whoa!
no, God no. And they have been showing up everywhere, right? I mean, you guys have seen them.
I've gone across it, and fortunately, as I've said, and I'm not being smug, I think this is horrible for people who are actually excited about the game. I'm not being I don't even care. I wasn't going to buy the game anyway, but yes, I've completely accidentally. I think it was the official PlayStation tweet about these release dates, and it was literally one of the first replies. It was bang, here's an image.
I have avoided all this, but is it just images, or is it an actual written down story? Well, what exactly has
So
been
there's
leaked.
there's
I'm
images
scared to
and
look
there is
into any
text.
articles, obviously.
There is text about like major plot points in The Last of Us 2. Yeah,
And there's also images from that
Yes.
code. Okay, cool. Yeah. I've avoided all. I've got 16 or 17 muted words, related to the game on both my Twitter account, the TCGS Twitter account.
yeah. I don't blame you.
I'm
As I
sure
say,
it will happen. I'm sure, because I in like famous big leaks, or maybe let's say spoilers for things like Game of Thrones and other things in the past. Like I've seen like wankers have literally like changed their Twitter name to like that person dies or something, just because they're absolute shits. So no doubt. I will see it in some nondescript way in the middle of an article. So I was like, oh, by the way, but so far I haven't heard. And it's so close to launch
The
now.
one that always gets me is when people, when people think they're being vague, but enough vague tweets will allow you to put it together. Like people are like, oh well, if people are expecting such and such are going to be disappointed. It's like, fuck off. Shut up.
Just don't tell me a single thing.
Yeah.
I mean, saying on a gaming podcast, don't tell me a single thing I've been avoiding this really badly is asking for trouble, if I'm totally honest. But I don't know. What do you do in this situation? You've got a game. You want to do you release it early? Do you just get it out there?
I saw some people say that, like, should they release on digital early? It's like, no, they're not going to do it. I mean, the start of the story James read out about the fact that they've got a release date. Obviously, only like 2 weeks ago, the game was delayed indefinitely. And so when you said it's got a release date, and I was like, what has, James? Because I've been avoiding any sort of Last of Us stuff. And he's like, Last of Us got a release date? Well, I thought that was... So it's amazing it's now coming out in June. It's not that far away, which is pretty good.
It's still a long old wait. That's a long time to avoid spoilers.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
The strangest thing that official response I've seen to a leak was, funny enough, it was a Queens of Stone Age album. I can't remember which one, but the album leaked online. And then they posted a thing on their website that just said, all right, well, we all know you're listening to it, so, here's the lyrics. You might as well sing the songs. Like, it was like really, like, I thought that was just like really odd. But
was it System of a Down who just put one of their albums up for download for free, but you could buy a case with a blank CDR in it and liner notes and stuff?
Probably. Sounds like the sort of thing those crazy chaps would do.
It's needless hoops to jump through, but I don't know, I thought it was quite funny.
They'd release an album called Steal This Album.
Yeah.
Fuck that system.
Too right, mate. Like, obviously maximum sympathy with disgruntled employees, and there are ways to take action against employees. But like just one person going out on their own and doing this and probably upsetting a load of their colleagues in the process, I don't know if that's the way to do it.
I don't think it's defendable at all.
Yeah.
You've cost a lot of people a lot of money, and a lot of people that aren't involved in a wage dispute, you've ruined something that they were really looking forward to. And the moral argument could be, but it's been created with all these horrible working situations. So, should fans of that particular end product be a little bit more aware of what's going on behind the scenes? Well, I don't know. It's there's all sorts of moral questions here. It's not for one man or woman to decide.
But then
it's weird.
I don't see who wins out of this at all. Like, what is the point of doing this? I mean,
other than just
see who wins.
spite. Yeah,
it's just spite. It is just spite.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. You could argue, and I mean, I'm not saying this is necessarily my point of view, but you could argue that they've potentially hit a lot of they've potentially cost this Naughty Dog and Sony quite a bit of money by doing this, and maybe it's them saying, actually, you've ripped off a lot of your staff. You've treated your staff badly. Again, I'm not saying that they have. I don't know anything about this situation. I don't know about the work situation at Naughty Dog. I don't know any of that stuff. What I'm saying, in a hypothetical situation, maybe that's the viewpoint, that, if it was a bad company, this is a way to.
It's worth pointing out, they've cost people money. They've cost the company money, right? Like, Neil Druckmann might not get as big a bonus, but most of the employees makes no fucking difference to them.
Yeah, but also, who are people really going to look at one of these screenshots and then just go, "Yeah, I'm not buying that game now." I just don't see people doing that.
Weird, isn't it? Obviously
the spoilers definitely affect, like, you know.
But it doesn't mean you just write it off and just say, "Yeah, I'm not never going to touch that now that I know something that's happened."
Yeah.
I can't imagine why someone would do that.
I can see,
sense.
like, obviously, as a, saying, like, makes no difference to the employees. I mean, like, monetarily, like, I can see why having spent, years of your life on something only to have it spoiled for people must be absolutely heartbreaking. Like, that's really shit.
Yeah.
That's the worst bit. Yeah. Not the financial side, because I really don't see how it would be affected financially.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, obviously, no details whatsoever. There's been a lot of moaning, but mostly from idiots who, don't appreciate certain viewpoints in video games. So I wouldn't like.
Just stop. You were talking about people being vague and you can piece it together. That
doesn't count.
No,
do you want to cut that out?
I've just worked it out now. I'm not buying the game.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not buying the game.
That's in the pre-order.
You weren't going to buy the game anyway. You were going to ask Matt to email Sony to get you a free copy. We all know the score, James. Go on.
But Ghost of Tsushima, I mean, obviously we're going to hear more in the coming weeks, you'd think. But yeah, and the initial trailer looked amazing, but it kind of feels like it's just that's coming out and there's no real buzz. Maybe once Last of Us comes out, but that's only like 3 weeks until Ghost comes out. I don't know. It feels like it's all good.
I fully don't give a shit about Ghost of Tsushima.
No, you don't give a shit. But if it comes out and it's amazing, then you'll want to play it.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not saying that. Yeah.
The less you know, the better. I'm sick of just constantly hearing about a game like over and over again for so many years. It's kind of the reason why I'm not that interested in The Last of Us 2 anymore. We've just seen trailer for years and years. It feels like it's been dragging on, and I'm just kind of like, I kind of just want to play it. I don't want to keep hearing about it. It really turns me off of a game, that does.
Not so much with video games, but certainly with certain science fiction films that have come out in the last few months. I was starting to think, like, do you know what? There's just come a point where the hype is just unbearable and nothing can live up to it. Like, it just becomes like impossible. So I just try not to pay attention these days until reviews are out, and then we'll see.
Yeah, I used to absolutely love film trailers, and part of me still does. But now I just feel like I just want a 30-second teaser, because so many film trailers I'm watching a bit, and okay, I'm going to stop now. Like, even things on Netflix, I'm like, oh, what's the series? This is good. No, stop this trailer, because it's just basically showing me bits towards the end.
Netflix is fucking annoying for that, isn't it?
Well, no, but at least now you can turn off that autoplay.
Oh, that's true.
Trailer.
Yes,
so it's worth doing that. But yeah, I was just like, okay, if 15 seconds, Jill, this is good, we're watching this, but let's not watch anymore, because it will show us a scene where when we're watching a film, we're like, hang on, we haven't seen that scene yet. That must be when that person dies. Yeah, annoying. Yeah. I'm incredibly excited for Last of Us 2 Part 2.
And I'm excited on your behalf. I'm glad you've managed to avoid the spoilers, and I think you're going to really love it.
Spoil it for me now within a week. James, so Dave, you are going to play it, but you're just not fussed, or what? I'm trying to work out the vibe of all of us. Am I the only one still really excited for this game?
No, I want this game.
So.
Okay, good.
I think I might play it. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to play it,
Well, but because of the tone and where we are in the world, or just you're not fussed?
Because of the
leaks,
disgusting.
No, my just excitement for it hasn't been sky high. I don't know. Maybe I will once I start.
That will change when the reviews come out, and I mean, you got to assume they're going to be very good, because it's Naughty Dog.
I think you're right.
My feeling about it has changed since I've been playing. I mean, we're not on what you've been playing, but I've been playing Uncharted 4, and since I've been playing that, it's made me more excited for The Last of Us 2, because it's really good.
All right, hold on to those thoughts. Any more news?
There's more news. I mean, do you want a Stadia roundup? Because I've got a Stadia roundup.
Yes, please.
Okay. No. There's okay. So I've got three two kind of short stories, and then one thing happened today. So first of all, Google have abandoned Stadia base, like their branding for that. Yeah. So because
Stadia base.
Well, originally it was going to be there was Stadia Pro, and then which was like the subscription service, and then Stadia Base, which was supposed to be the free service. It's now just called Stadia. instead.
Okay,
Which is the correct branding anyway. I mean, insane that they'll call it Stadia Base. It makes no sense.
Yeah, so they've changed that. They've also because they did this 2 months free offer, for Pro, and then this has pushed Stadia installs past 1 million, eventually. So
I mean, 1 million. That's
it's
not
pretty crap,
loads,
isn't it?
is it? Considering there's zero hardware requirement theoretically.
Yeah.
That's
If you
not
consider
amazing.
If you consider how many mobile phones there are out in the world, that could potentially install this, and also
I think
computers
it's
and stuff
unfair
like that.
to say, there's like
I think it's
5
unfair
billion.
as
There's
well.
5 billion phones. Why hasn't there been 2 billion downloads?
I still think I still think it's
considering how many TVs there are in the world, PlayStation haven't sold
there's
that
7
many
billion
consoles.
people in the world.
Oh, that's different. You know it is.
It's completely different. You're talking bullshit because it's like, look, you've got here in the first week when Stadia came out, 150,000 people bothered to install it. That's a fraction, and the whole thing.
Oh, well, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying comparing it to how many phones are in the world.
But because the volume of phones is so high, you'd be expecting it still would be more than that. Like if you think about whenever a Mario game comes out, or like a like Mario Kart comes out on iOS, they're looking at massive numbers compared with this.
That's insane, James. Like,
what are you talking about? It's insane.
Because at least 50% of every phone, people aren't bothered about games. Like,
no, this is bollocks. The whole point of Stadia was they were supposed to be pushing this to everyone. That was what they kept going on about. With the marketing,
gamers, not every phone in the fucking world.
No, but but that's still okay, Matt. There are still more than 225,000 people who play games on mobile phones.
Yeah, there's a million
in the world. Would you say?
No, there's a million to download the app.
I mean, for comparison, there are 5 million active Gear VR users in the world, supposedly.
Exactly.
So 1 million people just using Stadia, which you can just do.
Yeah, but what? This is after a week or two.
It's not. It's November last year.
No, but I thought.
Well, you convinced me. To be fair, I see what you're saying now. I mean, especially with the Mario thing, because it's. I mean, that got so many downloads. You look at Fire Emblem, how many downloads that got. That's a little bit. That's more hardcore.
It's very different though, because those are you download a game on your phone, which people have been doing for 10 years, and they get it. This is a new way to play. They're like, well, Google what? What's the Stadia?
The whole point is you shouldn't have to care about that.
You shouldn't
stuff,
have to. But
there's no.
As we know,
hardware,
Google have fucked up their messaging from day one. It's not. It's not outside of one's possibility that people will be confused. Gamers. Not people play games might be like, what do I need? Let alone a regular person on the street. They know Mario. They can download Mario for their phone, and so I don't think it's a fair comparison. I mean, yes, I would expect it to do more, but frankly, a million, given the messaging and all it's done so far, is frankly miraculous. We'll see what happens after this.
Sorry, what? What did you say?
Miraculous. He said it was miraculous.
But considering how bad the messaging is, and there's no reason to really get it. You've got to pay for the games. There's no real free catalog, although they're adding some now. A million people download, or hundreds of thousands have downloaded it since it became free, just to give it a go. And
I wouldn't say it's miraculous.
It's free.
Yeah, but
anyway,
it's confusing messaging, isn't it?
I can't see how you can defend this. I really can't.
I'm just having another viewpoint. I'm not defending it. I'm just another viewpoint, James.
Well, you are defending it.
Well, I'm just giving another viewpoint. It isn't just it should be 6 billion downloads.
It's just saying that he doesn't actually believe, James.
There's 24 billion phones in the world. Why isn't there 24 billion downloads? Doesn't make sense.
Never said that.
I'm not saying that. It's just 1 million is relatively fuck all.
It is. But early days, I guess.
It's not miraculous.
Early days. Go on. Okay, go on.
So anyway, so then also they had a Stadia Connect this week, which was actually today, which is Tuesday, when we're recording this. And so I was led to believe this was going to be a live video thing, but then it turns out that it wasn't, and it was a pre-recorded video that they'd done, which is understandable, considering what's going on at the moment. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they were going to show what they called a few new games on this stream. Did anyone watch this apart from me?
No.
I watched it, yeah.
I scanned the first 2 minutes of it and just went, nah, you're right.
So, I want to give them... There's 2 things from this stream that I think are potentially important things that they've done, which I think are good things. So first of all, EA do seem to be coming on board finally, and FIFA's coming to it, and Madden and stuff.
I thought that was surprising.
And Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, that's less of a deal, though, isn't it?
Well, it's a Star Wars game that sold millions, so that's got another big bit of a draw, isn't it?
But then, I mean, these are also coming at the end of this year as well, so it's not yet. It's like later. I mean, they'll probably come out and it'll probably be the old version of FIFA or something.
Well, I was
going
to say, what I loved in this press release, it just says FIFA available this winter. Like FIFA 21 or FIFA.
No, I would assume that
FIFA 96.
Yeah, or it'll be the FIFA Legacy edition that you get on Switch.
With 2 buttons.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's happened. But then also, I mean, I'm jumping right ahead to the end of this, but they also announced PUBG for it as well.
PUBG was sort of the and one more thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like that's coming like now. It's out now, and it's like got cross-platform play, and it's free with Pro as well, so you can get into that. I mean that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
How is PUBG doing?
It's still doing really well. It's still doing pretty well. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's like Fortnite, Apex. Well, I think it's definitely doing better than Apex Legends, but it's especially on mobile. It does really really well. So that kind of makes sense. But then the other stuff through the rest of the thing I was not that impressed. I mean, they showed these were the games they showed. They showed Doom Eternal. Okay, we already know about that. They then said that Octopath Traveler was coming out on it.
Oh, right.
Yep. So
Switch game
that's how obviously before it comes out on PS4 and Xbox, which I thought was interesting.
Could have played it on Switch 2 years ago or whatever.
It's on PC as well, I think.
Yeah, then you got Rock of Ages 3. That's another Switch game that was happened before. Then they did this whole thing where they do first on Stadia, which is these are games which are not exclusive to it but are coming out first. They're coming out.
There's one game out of this whole show. I'm like, okay, this game looks great. I wonder if you can work out which one it is.
I'm curious to see which one you think it's going to be, because the first one they had was this game called Crater, which looks like Minecraft gameplay but like Fortnite.
Yeah, basically.
If you know what I mean.
Great.
And you look at this, I just thought this looks so cynical. Like it looks.
Well,
so
yeah,
cynical.
I mean, it's basically it's way more like Fortnite, but I think it also I haven't played it, but it feels like it could be more Robloxy because you can create your own multiplayer games, share them, collaborate, play, etc., etc. So, but yeah, it's got the styling of Minecraft.
It's all the usual buzzwords, that there are around this stuff at the moment. That people want, presumably, or they think people want. And then they had the next one, which this is the one that I thought looked most interesting, which was Wavebreak.
Yeah, that's the one for me. Yeah, it looks brilliant. Yeah.
This was like a jet ski game that was like sort of doing stunts and stuff like that around like around.
Yeah, I think they called it like water skateboarding instead of waterboarding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It looks
like waterboarding's not the term you want.
But it basically looks sort of like classic sort of arcade Sega sort of stuff in the 90s. It looked great. One of 4 players as well.
It looked very. It looked like it's obviously like an indie game or whatever, but it looked great. I did think it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it on other platforms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but then after that, they did this really weird thing, which made it feel like do you remember we saw that PS3 like reveal recently? We did that talks over for it.
Oh yeah.
And this had Phil Harrison's fingerprints all over it, because what it was is they just had
shitty fingerprints, all bits of jam everywhere.
Because what they then did was they just had a whole section which went on for quite a long time of people just saying why they love Stadia.
Great.
And it felt like those PlayStation 3 adverts, where they're like just standing there saying, it's great, I can I can play it wherever I want.
When Trump just come in and played that video at his press conference. Was it like that?
Yeah.
Did they watch the Trump conference and go, that's a good idea, let's do that?
Phil comes out and he's just like, we've got a video here we'd like to show you all.
Barry knocked that up in 2 hours, right? And we've got better clips than that of people saying nicer things than that. Anyway, inject yourself. Right, okay, let's go.
So they showed that, and that was a bit odd because it went on for quite a long time. Then they showed another game which was called Ember, which is a co-op firefighting game. Like you work together and like fight fires, whatever. Also coming out on Steam, so that's another one. Then they had another first on Stadia, which was called Get Packed. And this was a game about moving house.
It's mad, isn't it?
It looks like Overcooked.
Wait, I was going to say a game about moving out. So moving out has just come out
on the same. It's going to come out on the same day. Like,
wow,
it's crazy. Yeah. Two moving/packing games out on the same day.
first on Stadia though, so this is the one to go for.
What a coup!
Then it ended with PUBG, and they talked about that, and then they announced that the next Stadia Connect was coming this summer. So you've just got another couple of months to wait until you can find out if there's any more games coming out.
Can't wait.
It's
exciting.
I mean, what I found interesting is like the first two, it's only like a 16-minute Connect anyway, so it wasn't particularly long. The first 4 minutes was spent explaining what Stadia was.
What Stadia was.
I love it. Like if it just started, someone from Google like, look, I don't think you understand that. Right, this is what it is.
I think you get a real idea about how badly they messed up the messaging. If at the start of this, this isn't even their first one. What was it, like third or whatever? They've done a few. We're obviously like a fair few months into Stadia, and they start their 16-minute conference by explaining what it is for 4 minutes. Like,
could you imagine
come
that?
on.
E3 2019, the Xbox conference. So if you press the button there, you're in the dashboard, right? And then you could just put a disc in, and then a little stall stuff off the disc, and you press the A button, and then you play the game. That's how it works, guys.
It's a machine for playing games. That's what it is.
Oh, okay, you took what I said and abbreviated it and just repeated it. But
and then abbreviated it to make it funnier.
Finessed it.
But yeah,
Finessed it, Dave.
Disagree. Disagree. Go on.
Yeah, so that was basically it. I mean, yeah, that was it. That was the end of the Connect. So yeah, if you're excited for Stadia, presumably you're now more excited because there's a couple of games coming out in the next couple of months.
Something to do, innit?
Yeah.
Okay, and are we done with the news?
Yes.
Good. All right. Should we get on to what we've been playing this week? And let's start with Sean, because you've been playing Disaster Report 4, is it?
Yes. On the stream.
Now,
go on.
Before you go into Disaster Report 4, I've heard you talk about Disaster Report before.
Yeah.
So what is the idea? So is this it's a Japanese game, is it?
Yeah, it's a not
Japanese
incredibly high budget Japanese game. So yeah, some of you might remember before Christmas I streamed a bit of Raw Danger, which was the Western name for Disaster Report 2. And yeah, basically they're all games, so they're like third person. I mean, calling them action games is maybe a bit generous, but you move a character around, you talk to people, and basically there has been like a natural disaster of some sort. Raw Danger, it was a flood. In this, it's an earthquake. And it's basically, you just being a survivor, like talking to people, having to manage. So like in Raw Danger, because it was all, because it was a flood, it was all water-based, you were always managing like how dry and warm your character was. So it was all about like avoiding hypothermia and exhaustion and stuff, making sure you're fed and everything. Whereas in this, it's more like you just like take damage as if you get hit by things or whatever, as a result of the earthquake.
So they're survival games that are they? Is there an ending to them? Is there a narrative?
So they're very like narrative heavy. So they're not like open world or anything. Yeah, they're very much like moving between sort of like little set areas, and like which you can roam around freely in. But it's very much like talk to the right number of people, get an item, solve a puzzle, whatever, and then you move on, and things progress. So I was really excited about Disaster Report 4. This was obviously this was meant to be out a while ago, but nearly came out basically at the same time that there were actually really bad earthquakes in Japan, and obviously they had to delay it for quite some time. But yeah, I think it came out in Japan like a couple of years ago and has finally seen a Western release. The real draw of it is there's just loads of really weird shit you can do. Like
how do you mean?
There'll just be loads of situations. Okay, so like random examples. So on the last stream I did, there were a couple of occasions where I'd like met people and I got the option to introduce myself, right? And the options were like just introduce yourself normally, or like decline to introduce yourself, or introduce yourself with a dark aura, right?
Because that's what I really liked about watching your stream.
Yeah.
Like the stuff where a shady guy comes up to you and asks you if you've seen someone, and then you can just turn awkwardly
walk
turn
away.
off and run away and stuff like.
Yeah, and there was one instance where so I was in like a subway and there's a woman trapped under some debris and she's shouting for help, and your options are like help her, or crouch down and just stare at her saying nothing, or walk away. Right.
So, just out of interest, would you then expect that, based on the previous games, would you then expect those decisions that you make throughout it to affect anything further down the line?
I mean, not hugely. I think they do. Like, I've never finished Raw Danger. It's one of those games where I seem to have played like the first 2 or 3 hours about 10 times, and then because it never officially got released in the UK, so it's always one I've played like via emulation. I've sort of played bits here and there. So I don't know if those decisions have any massive ramifications. They certainly don't seem to in this one. It seems very straightforward. But then, I don't know, I see how it all pans out. But then I'm already sort of 3 or 4 hours in, and I think apparently it's only about 7 hours long. And so far there's been no repercussions for anything I've done in particular, other than just like funny, weird stuff happening in the moment. There was one bit where so I found this shop and there was a massive queue, and the guy who's supposed to be at the till was too scared to serve everyone because they were really irate. So I basically stole a uniform and pretended to work there. Took a load of money off people, put some of it in the till, but kept a fair bit for myself as well. And then when a guy who appeared to be the manager showed up, I then argued with him and insisted that I was the manager of his shop.
So good.
And this sounds great, man. And you were leading up to this, you were worried about it, right? But it sounds like you're having fun with it.
Absolutely. It's like, in terms of the scenarios, right? What I've played through so far in Disaster Report 4 has been quite like, so with Raw Danger, right? You start off as like a waiter in a hotel, and there's like an event on, and then it all kicks off and it floods and everything, and you're like escaping from the hotel, and you're out in the city, and like the whole sort of the geography of it and the environments you move through are really diverse. Whereas the first sort of 3-4 hours of Disaster Report 4 have been like, you're at an intersection in a city and all 4 roads out of it are blocked. Talk to people, find the way out. Oh, you're in another intersection now. How do you now progress? Like, and it literally did that like 3 or 4 times. And every time it was like, okay, so I'm just at another intersection in the middle of a city, and there's like 2 shops and some people. So that was a bit of a shame. But then since then, it sort of opened up a bit. Like, I've been in a subway. There was a horrific bit with like an overhead motorway that just collapsed.
That was horrendous.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it just collapsed on a bunch of people. That was mad. So yeah, I think it is going to start changing it up, but it's a bit weird that, like, as I say, for the first few hours, it's like, right, the environments are all pretty samey. But yeah, like, I am having a really good time with it.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to have that much comedy in it.
Yeah, it's really strange. And because obviously it's all sort of like, the comedy isn't in the writing as such, it's the actions as a result of the writing, if that makes sense. Like, I can imagine, like, maybe there's loads of jokes that get missed in translation, but it's having the option to do stupid shit that makes it funny. Like, some of it's incredibly dark. Like, there was a guy who was like injured on the floor, and there was a woman with him. She's like, "Oh, I've called an ambulance," but like, I don't know.
So bad.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know where the ambulance is. And you had the option to be like, either like just comfort him, be like, "Oh, I'm sure the ambulance is on its way," or you could just say, "Mate, there's no ambulance." Or you can say, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, I've seen the ambulance. It's on its way, mate. Don't worry." And there's no ambulance. Like, and you can just lie to him, and yeah, and you sort of gain like immoral and moral points. I don't know if they affect anything yet.
They must do.
You would hope so, wouldn't you?
How's yours looking like so far, given
it's surprisingly
what you've said?
Like, I've got like 15 immoral points, but then about 50 odd moral points, which is really surprising, because I've sort of the way I'm playing it is basically that my character will more or less do the right thing when people are watching, but when he's on his own, he'll take whatever he can get. Right. There's one bit I like walked into this this office where like loads of people had turned up trying to get a job. There was like it was supposed to be an interview day, and all these people are like, "Oh, I've like come all this way, and now this disaster's happened." And it's not like, certainly I was able to pretend that that's why I was there. I don't know if it's like that's actually canon, if that is why I was in the city or not. It's not really clear. But you go to the desk and she's like, "Oh yeah, we can reimburse you for your travel costs." And you get the option to just be like, "Oh well, my actual costs were like 10,000 yen or whatever." But you can go all the way up to like, "I'm just going to put 99,000, see what happens." And I did it. And
did you do that?
Yeah, and she paid it. And you're just like, fuck. So they're basically
Absolute
walking around with the equivalent of about 850 quid in my wallet.
Nice.
It's just absolutely absurd. And then I spent half of it on loads of Parmigiano cheese at a restaurant. It's just,
at one point you dressed like a spaceman or
there's just loads of downloadable costumes that are just absolutely stupid. There's a cowboy, there's a like a superhero one.
Cowboy.
There's just loads. Yeah, like I was dressed as a cowboy when the motorway collapsed and killed hundreds of people. And you're just like, I feel like I've not really taken this seriously enough. But the only thing is they are charging £55 for this, which I think is, it's one of those, they know it's got a niche dedicated fan base. And they know what that those people will pay for it. So they're just chancing their arm initially. So obviously,
they're doing what you did with you reimbursing your fees, right?
Exactly.
It's exactly the same thing.
So yeah, I'm not going to give it like a glowing go out and spend full whack on this recommendation, but certainly if it ever ends up in a sale, fuck me, it's funny.
Isn't this also this has been a long time coming as well? This game.
Yeah. I was saying because of the earthquake and stuff, so it's been massively delayed. The team have also done. People were saying in the chat when I was streaming it, the team have also done it's technically a different series, but it's basically the same game, but it's during a kaiju attack. So there's giant robots fighting monsters and stuff as you're sort of trying to get about in the city, which sounds amazing. I don't know if that's had a Western release or not, though. I assume not, because there would have been any noise about it. So yeah, it's been proper funny. I'm really enjoying streaming it, and it'll be interesting to see, as you said, as I was saying, as we get towards the end, whether decisions we've made actually impact on things. So certainly, Dave, you mentioned that the guy sort of approached you. He's like, "Oh, I'm looking for this guy in a black t-shirt. Do you know where he went?" And I lied and said, "Oh, because the guy who was asking me seemed sketchy," and I lied and said he went a different direction. So I've since met up with the guy who was being chased. And he was like, "Oh, thanks for saving me. Can you do that?" And he's given me a mission and stuff.
Thanks for saving me. Go and do something for me. That's not how it works, is it?
Whether or not that encounter would still have happened, if I'd directed the guy towards him or not, I don't know. But yeah, it's a convincing illusion, if nothing else. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that.
It's such a great streaming game, because every time you go to start a new conversation with someone, you're not quite sure where it's going to go. And
because the options are just so weird.
Dark undertones is probably the wrong way to say it, but there is anything can happen in any conversation. It can go any way, and that's always what you going to say to these people, or what do you have the option of saying to these people? So it's really great streaming game. It's really interesting in that regard.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Check that out on YouTube. The first episode of Sean playing that game's on there.
2 episodes.
Second actually. Well, the second one.
Was the second one?
Well, the one on Friday, the one he did on Monday was the second one, but I need to put it up on YouTube.
I don't think I saw the Monday one, but on our YouTube channel, search the Computer Game Show on YouTube. Right. Anything else you've been playing?
Yeah. So I finished Paper Beast.
Excellent. Okay.
Which I was, as you may recall, about 3 weeks ago, I was really enjoying. So yeah, finished it, and it is great. There's there's 3 parts to this. Stuff I really love, stuff I didn't like, but it's the hardware's fault, and I don't know how fair it is to criticize the game for it. And then stuff I just straight up didn't like. So yeah, PSVR, I've got a lot of love for it. And it's it's the first VR headset I actually had in my house, as it will have been for literally millions of people. But it is dated now. The amount of times I was tripping over the cable, because this is a game where you stood up and you are moving around environments, right? So the temptation to just actually turn around or walk a little bit is there. And I was getting tangled up. I was moving away from the camera and getting shouted at. I was, holding the move controllers at slightly the wrong place, and they were sort of flying around in the air in the game. All that stuff was really annoying and really jarring now. Having spent a lot of time with the Oculus Quest or similar, that stuff is really frustrating now. I was pissing around with where I'm putting the camera and stuff, trying to get a better angle on me, based on where I can put it in the room and where I can stand, and pain in the arse. But that's not necessarily the game's fault, right?
I mean, like, do you feel like that's just worse because you're used to Oculus Quest now?
I mean, possibly, yeah. Like, I think that, people have played this, so like Christian Donlan reviewed this for Eurogamer and he gave it an essential. So he just played it with a regular PlayStation controller. Possibly, I don't think he said, but I mean, possibly also sat down, which you could if you wanted. I preferred, like, as annoying as it was tripping over the cable and stuff, because it's very much about the sense of place and the sense of being in this like weird alien world, being stood on my own 2 feet and kind of being able to look around and as if I was there was a major part of it. Like, I spoke about last time I talked about the game, it's the sound design. Like, the visuals are great, but the way it really sells it is the sound design and the behavior of all these weird creatures that all sort of shuffle around you and breathe down your ears and stuff. And it's like really unnerving at times, but just fascinating just watching them like go about their business and sort of working out their little sort of ecosystems and behaviors and figuring out how to sort of manipulate that and get to the next area. And, things like there's a section where you're sort of on this hillside, right? And at the top, there's this huge like well that just every so often just like fucking like hurls just loads of water out, right? And there's these creatures that are trying to get from one side to the other and they keep getting washed away by the water. And I kept like avoiding the water. Every time I heard the water like fire up, I'd like get out of the path of it, right? I'd move away and then sort of watch all the water go down and then go back and try and figure out what I needed to do. And then one time I was like, I'm just going to stand in the way and just see what, like, it can't push me around because that's not, it's one of the VR games where you just teleport around, right? There's no sort of smooth movement. Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, it's not just going to push me around. I'm just going to stand in the path of the water and just see what happens. And like I did, and like as it sort of came at me, like this huge wave started coming at me, and like instinctively I like crouched on the floor because I was like, oh fuck, what's going like this is going to be bad. Yeah, and it's unbelievable. This wave hits you, and like the audio completely changes, like as if your head's underwater. And like the water physics are absolutely beautiful, and they know that because that's what like half the puzzles end up relying on, is sort of manipulation of the water physics. And just, moments like that are just fucking incredible. And again, it's one of those things you can only really sell on VR. It wouldn't work if it was through a telly or whatever. It wouldn't be the same. And that sense of being an explorer in a place that you don't understand and you don't recognize is incredible. But certainly towards the end, some of the puzzles got really annoying and just took forever to solve. So, like, as an example, so yeah, like I said, there's a lot of puzzles where you're manipulating the flow of water, right? Water's coming out of like a certain place and you need to sort of direct it to another bit of the environment. And there's one section in particular absolutely did my head in. There's like these two sort of giant turtle things, right? And there's like this red orb in the air. You grab the orb, you move it around, and the turtles follow it. And then when they're stood under it, they just start like shitting out sand, right? And it builds up underneath them. And the idea is you move them around and you create like a little dam effectively to steer the water where you want to go. Fine, but it takes fucking ages to do. And God. The fact that, like I say, it's all about that first person perspective. It's all about being on the ground and moving around and experiencing the world. So many of the puzzles, especially the later ones, there'll be like quite a high up cliff with like a teleport point on it that you can zap all the way over to. And it's kind of like the game's admitting that on the ground first person view is actually not really helpful when you try and do the puzzles. Like, well, actually what you really need to do is be stood up in the air looking down at everything and getting a proper lay of the land. So that's sort of disappointing, right? That sort of dials back on what makes it so cool for the most part. And just, yeah, and those puzzles where you try and direct the course of the water, it just took so long and it was just boring after a while. Like, okay, make the turtle stand here. Okay, the shitting sand out. I've just got to stand here holding this item for like a good sort of, like minute or two, just stood there just waiting for them to create enough sand, and they're right now move a little bit that way. Okay, now they're doing it. Okay, we've created the dam. Oh, but some of the water's still getting over it. Where are the leaks? Okay, it's just boring. And there was a couple of there was one bit right towards the end where like an event just didn't trigger. I don't know if it was a bug, or I don't think it was anything I'd done wrong, because I had to just reload the level and then just let it play out, and it was fine. So I don't know what happened the first time. Just didn't, like, an event just didn't trigger. Like, I was just stood there. There was like this parade of animals all just stood still, and I was like, what's happening? And what had been this really cool bit of the soundtrack had just looped so many times. I was just like, oh my god, this is annoying as fuck now.
Yeah, that's annoying, because that takes you out of the experience so
exactly,
much,
yeah. And as I say, when it's so much about that immersion and that sense of place, things like that really kill it, and especially so late in the game as well. So that was a shame, but the good bits are absolutely worth it. Like, I'm not saying, rush out and buy PSVR just for this or anything, but guy, if you've already got it, this is well worth experiencing. It's fully a thing you could only do in VR. It's very abstract, and I don't know if it's trying to say anything other than, look, here's a load of cool, weird shit to look at. I don't know if there is a message to it. If there is, it has totally escaped me. I'd be interested to hear if anyone has, if there's been any sort of articles about it or anything. I suspect there is something to it that I'm not understanding. But yeah, just as an experience, brilliant, apart from the bits where it's really shit.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
Yeah, weird. Really weird. No, as I say, overall, totally still well worth playing through. But yeah, it's one of those where you think, like, did no one play this and be like, mate, this bit drags a bit. Can you, like, pace it up a bit? Like, I don't know. What else? One more. This will be quite brief. So I'm still playing Pokemon Go, and as you may be aware, can't really go out.
Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't even think. Oh my god!
Exactly. So obviously, I've been playing this consistently ever since I, mentioned it like months back. Obviously, there's not been anything new to say about it, except now, obviously, it's having to adapt quite a lot, because, people are still going for walks, but a lot of the game, especially the high-level stuff, and obviously they're the people who are paying money for, things, is all about doing raids, which involves being around other people at specific locations in public, which is obviously all like out of the window now. And it's just interesting what they've done to try and adapt to that. So for the last sort of couple of weeks, I think they've halved like the distance that it takes to hatch eggs, right? You put eggs in incubators and then you hatch them by walking around in real life. So they've halved the distance it takes to do that, which is cool, because it means I can, do my daily exercise, walking the dog or whatever, and hatch a couple of eggs while I'm at it. They've also, like, generally Pokemon only spawn in like busy areas, right? So usually town centers, anywhere where there's like Pokestops. But like, you probably can't do that most of the time, or just once a day. So now, like, using like incense, which spawns more Pokemon around you, that's like guaranteed to spawn one near you like every minute or whatever. And the main thing that they've done, like literally yesterday, is you can now do raids remotely, as long as you can like see it on the map. So you've got to be like roughly in the vicinity. But yeah, you can now just do raids from a distance. You need an item to do it, which, like, you get a bunch of free ones, and you can buy them with like the currency you can earn in game, or obviously you can spend real money. But yeah, it's been great, and it's allowed me to, like, it's still part of my actual going out for a walk, but also I can engage with the other stuff. Like, it hasn't completely.
That's really cool. They've made changes to reflect that.
I mean, it's been interesting. Like, there's a lot of the community are weird, right? And when Niantic announced that they were doing remote raiding, loads of people are like, "Oh, we've been asking for this for years. This is ridiculous. Oh, only now you're doing it." It's like, yeah, because they're only doing it because of the current situation. They're going to turn it off once we can go out again. Like, they're not saying, "Oh yeah, this is how the game should have worked all this time." Like, there are so many people who do want to play Pokemon Go but just sit inside, and that's really sad and completely missing the point. Like, there are actual Pokemon games for that, I don't understand why you'd want to play Pokemon Go and just completely remove the, walking around element of it. But yeah, those people exist. So that's been really strange. But overall, yeah, really impressed with all the changes they've made and the fact they've essentially, under normal circumstances, made decisions that would have completely broken the game. But the situation we're currently in, it works fine. And that's been really interesting.
What level are you, Sean?
What level am I? Fuck. I can't remember. I'm like 27, I think.
Right.
That's a long road to 40.
Stopped.
Yeah, it takes fucking forever to level up. And I get it, because, 40 is the cap, and then that's when you can place your own Pokestop. I'm still wondering if there's like a house on my road that's had like a famous person living in it, and I can go, look, this is where this person lives.
Could just lie.
I could just lie.
Dennis lived there.
Well, apparently they do check, so you can't just place one wherever you want. Maybe I'll just, we're sort of famous, right? Maybe I'll just be like, this is Sean Bell's house.
I was about to say, TCGS's Sean Bell lives here.
Yeah. Big news.
There you go.
Yeah.
After our discussion about the Play Radio stuff the other day, I went back onto Wikipedia to read that stuff, because I used to be listed as a notable presenter on that. That's been removed.
Has it?
Not notable enough, so maybe we haven't broken the mainstream yet, Sean, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. Right. Okay. Is that
is it.
That all you got for us?
That is it.
Cool. Let's go, James.
Okay. I played two things this week, really, but again, there's stuff that people have played to death before, like many, many times, and I haven't really got a huge amount probably to add unique about either of them. I finished The Witcher 3, or at least the main story, over the weekend, but I mean, with a game like this, I don't think do you ever really finish it? Because they're just saying there's just so much to
you've
do.
Got the DLC now, right?
Yeah, and it's just also like this. I've done some side missions, but obviously not all of them, because there's it seems to be hundreds. Like there's just a lot to do, and a lot of them are really good. And it's one of those games that I kind of feel I will probably just keep dipping back into from time to time, because there's always going to be something to do, to like play through. And I really loved it. I do think it is probably one of the best games of this generation.
Yeah,
like it's really, really good in terms of particularly in terms of the diversity of the storytelling. I think is really fantastic.
Yeah, how did you get on with the combat as a whole then? Because that was the real sticking point for me. I mean, it didn't ruin the game, but I was kind of like, oh man, could you imagine if the combat was good? Because this would be really good.
Yeah, and that's probably my only gripe with the game, actually, is the combat, because it isn't great, I don't think. I mean, I never felt entirely comfortable with it at any point. I mean, even like parrying and stuff like that, it's okay, but I never feel it feels very sort of satisfying to play with the combat. Although it becomes a lot more interesting once you've got a lot of the the signs that you can use, and I just ended up using a lot of magic most of the time, which was more interesting. But yeah, that is the one major down point, but it doesn't matter because the stories are so interesting, and I just really like the way it just continuously just subverts expectations all the time of what's going to happen and everything, and it's wonderful. And I'm going to continue playing. I mean, I've already started one of the expansions, I think the first one, and that's already been pretty interesting, because there's one character in that I wasn't expecting I was ever going to see again, and then suddenly has appeared. And I mean, I got the bad ending as well for the main game, because
how'd you manage that?
I made well. You
just got to be nice to Siri. That's it.
Well, no, I was trying to be kind of like don't go like that, and then she lost confidence because of that, and then it went wrong, and I got a horrible ending, like a really horrible ending. It was really depressing and sort of just nasty, and then so now when I play, I kind of feel like the Geralt that I'm playing at now has experienced that and is just depressed, through the rest of it, because it was horrible. And I was sad because, you don't get to go off with the lady at the end either, because it's all gone wrong. Yeah. And it's just, it's a bit of a shame.
Okay.
Thought you'd like that, Dave.
Don't get to go off with the lady.
Going off with the lady at the end.
Didn't get. I mean, I'd laid all the groundwork for that, and
that's why you're annoyed.
I mean, ideally, you should go off at the same time together, but
furious as there is kicking out time at a nightclub. James is like, well, I've had the bad ending here. I didn't get to go off with the lady. I laid all the groundwork. Yeah, I got the Sambuca in.
I bought you one as roses.
But
Good.
But it is great. It's a very good game, and I'm kind of still glad that I did play it on Switch, even though it looks like horrible. It really does look horrible. It's like it doesn't look nice at all, and I really wish that there was still that crossplay thing whereby, because you can do that with PC, and if I had a PC, that would be great, because then I probably would play it on that anyway to make it look really good. If I could just upload this so I could play it on PS4 as well, I'd definitely do that, because
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised it's not crossplay with Xbox.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
Xbox and Nintendo like now, and they, they love each other.
But it is annoying though, because I'd love to see it like on a high resolution and stuff like that, because it doesn't look good, which is a shame. But overall, still really, really good, and I would recommend it even on Switch, because I probably would have finished this eventually if I'd have played it on a console, but playing it on the Switch made it a lot easier, because you could just get it out and play it for a bit now and then. It's much better. The other game I played is I've been playing Uncharted 4, and when did I play? I can't remember when I played Uncharted 3, because this was a very long time ago, and I kept on thinking, because there's that new Tomb Raider game as well. Well, not new now, but it was. Which one was that? The one you played most recently, Dave?
What? Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that was the most, and because it's on like Game Pass and stuff like that. And I keep meaning, because I've enjoyed those. They've been pretty good, and I keep thinking I should go back and play one of those. But then I realised I have Uncharted 4, and I've never touched it, and I probably should, because I've heard that it's supposed to be quite good. And I'm about 2/3 of the way through now, and I don't think I've got a huge amount to add to it. I mean, it frequently looks incredible. Like, really, really incredible. I mean, I was there, like, because there wouldn't have been HDR and stuff when you played it, was there, Dave?
No HDR, but 4K, I think? No, because...
It can't be, because when it came out, there was no PS4 Pro.
There wasn't a PS4 Pro, was it? No, but I that's right, because I went back and played large parts of it again when I got my Pro. So, just check out the 4K. But no, it still looked fucking unbelievable when it came out. Yeah,
I mean, just some of it. Like, I mean, there's, obviously one part where you get, like, sort of, shipwrecked on the island where it's just like raining, and it looks amazing. Like, I was just shocked. Like, it's one of the best looking games I think I've seen on PS4. Like, it looked really, really good. And the thing about it, the whole game feels so refined as well. Like, I think probably because this comes after 3 other games, and the narrative is just so well presented, and the performances are really good as well. And like, what's called, like, climbing around and stuff is still a lot of fun. It's just, as everyone says, and it's absolutely true, it's just the combat that lets it down. It's I don't feel it's as egregious as in the other games, as in, like, you're just continuously, like, mowing people down, but it just never feels particularly good. Like, it just always feels a bit like, I've got to get through this, to get to the next good bit, which is going to be climbing and stuff like that.
As I say, I think they added enough options in there to make it a little bit more interesting than what's come before it. I think, the main thing about that game is the visuals and the narrative really are a step up. How far into it are you?
I think, I can't say, because then does it matter if I ruin the plot at all? I don't know.
Probably don't go into it. But I remember the epilogue or the ending or whatever being absolutely fantastic in this. Like, I really, really enjoyed how they wrapped things up at the end. So it was really the narrative stuff. There's there's other problems with it. I think the climbing shit does get a little bit tedious.
I don't know. I never get bored of that, because I love it. I love climbing in games. I absolutely love it. And
but wasn't it with this one? It was like it was even more obvious than it was before on where to go and where to jump and stuff.
There's a bit more. I wouldn't say it's open world, but there is a lot more like areas where you can just like drive. You get to drive around and stuff like that to try and find. But then you do realise that it's kind of well designed in the sense that you never get lost, really. Like, you're actually being guided towards where they want you to go, and I was being quite impressed by that. Like, as in, I never felt irritated by it at all. Because I think that's what you've got to expect with an Uncharted game, though, isn't it? Is that it's very like it's a very guided experience of like where you've got to go, what you've got to do.
Yeah, that's the point of the game. Yeah,
and so I quite like that. I have no problem with that at all, and it's I thought it worked quite well. But also, I mean, just Nate is a fantastic character. Like, I just like spending time with him, just like, just the stuff he comes out with and things like that. I think he's fantastic. It's just so good. And
Well, there's a ton of really good characters in those games, aren't there?
Yeah.
There's some, and this introduced a few more. Like it's really good at doing that stuff. It's great.
still not a fan of Elena. I don't think she was that great. It's still.
Oh yeah, you didn't like her,
Yeah,
did you?
I thought she was
I thought she was
good.
great in this as well.
Chloe's a lot more interesting. It's
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
before
it's a bad
Chloe,
girl.
that was it.
she was a lot more interesting. You know, she's just more interesting.
I hate it when you say that.
The character's
so
more
much more-
interesting.
Interesting. Very interesting. You do know that you sound disgusting when you say that. Right? You're aware of that.
Shut up, though, Matt. Shut up.
Okay, is that all you've got for us this week, James?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm looking forward to finishing it, and then I think I might play Horizon Zero Dawn next, because I've never played that. And
Yeah, it's a decent one.
Yeah.
That is a decent one. Yep.
Did you love it at the time, Dave? Did you think Horizon Zero Dawn was a stunner at the time?
Did I think it was a stunner at the time? Yes. Not yes. I thought it was a very solid game. I think I gave it an 8. There was some stuff that I found a little bit frustrating with it. I think in the early days when you're getting used to fighting these animals, they're like these animals, these robotic animal things. There were some of them that just weren't really fun to fight. There was a hell of a lot of scavenger hunting stuff. I found that pretty much, although it's a game where you look at the mini-map and it's full of icons, don't be intimidated by that, James, because there's a lot of the stuff that you actually do in that game is fun. So when you see that many icons, actually most of the icons represent some good activities to do. I would say the only advice I give to you going into this is a mistake I made. Really do spend some time in the local area before going travelling, because there's loads of stuff that I missed early on, and by that point I had to travel a long way back to go and do that stuff. Leveling up system was great. The unlocks that you get, the powers are fantastic. Yeah, it's a very solid game. Very solid game. It looks great as well. It's another cracking looking game.
I feel like I kind of need to go back to that, because you hear loads of people talking about it, particularly with PS5 and the Horizon. Oh, there could be Horizon Zero Dawn trilogy and all that sort of stuff. And that was the game I played after Zelda, and I just thought, nope, not playing this. This is terrible.
Yeah, see, I fell right off it. It looks amazing. I can't even tell you what was wrong with it. I just wasn't engaged at all. It's weird.
I think it come out in like a big flurry of games like Far Cry and stuff like that. And when you started that game, you did think, oh, not another one of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
But it had a little bit. It had enough about it to sort of feel different to that. And there's not been many games like that recently. So maybe it is a good time to go back and try that.
Yeah.
Try it out.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff, because not much has come out, has it? Like recently, and it just does feel like quite a good time to like go back and play some of this stuff that I missed the first time round, and it's looking forward to it
for sure. Matt,
it's just Animal Crossing. I have been obsessed with that game. I mean, just when I think, oh, maybe my love for it's waning, and I'll do this massive project, and I've clocked over 150 hours now, and just.
That's madness.
That is
madness.
It's nothing compared to some people on my friends list.
Yeah, Chen's at about 200 now.
I saw some the other day with over 400 hours. I'm
Jesus.
like, what? I'm trying to work out if that's hey, it's impossible. But I love it. I've got massive projects, and it's keeping me interested.
Can I ask you, because this is in no way leading at all.
Okay, of course it is.
I don't believe that.
Strap in.
It's absolutely not. I just am really curious now, because we had this discussion like many times before. Can you see what I mean now about how this is not really the same as Stardew Valley?
I can see it's not the same. I mean, there's definitely similar things that I love, and I think I love them both. But I know it's been a different game, because I played the one on GameCube, and the one on DS. I know what Animal Crossing games are, but I just think there are enough similarities that I think if you like one, you'll probably enjoy a lot of things from the other one.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Okay.
I've had quite a week on Animal Crossing as well. Mainly through Harry more than anything else. For starters, his favourite villager's moving out tomorrow.
Oh shit!
Oh
and
no.
it was really heartbreaking, and even worse, I'm probably at fault because I was speaking to Cherry, right? I was speaking to Cherry, and she said, I'm thinking of moving on. You know, I've really enjoyed my time here, but I'm thinking of moving on.
Said go.
And well, I wasn't thinking. I just thought when I was chatting to her, I was like, yeah, just go live your life.
No.
I don't want to feel.
Unbelievable.
The moment I've done that, I just went. I've just kicked her off the island, haven't I? Like, why have I done that? There was so much. Like, even Harry turned around to me today and just went, "Oh man, there are way worse villagers on this island that I want to get rid of." And I was like, "Oh, well, why don't you complain to them about them to Isabel?" And he was like, "I have, and it's done nothing." I was like, "Okay, fine." So yeah, he found out. He didn't get upset. Like, he was just like, this is really, and it does it over such a prolonged period because you have that initial conversation where she said she's moving, then you go into her house the next day and they're all in boxes, and then she moves out the next day. And then it really drummed home just before we come online, and I looked, and there was a little bird on the notice board, and I walked over, and I clicked on it, and Harry had drawn a picture of Cherry and put "Remember Cherry?" on it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the mural for his favourite villager." But yeah, so that was pretty sad. The other thing was that Harry chose this week to get into the turnip market.
Oh no.
Oh yes. So our turnips were on sale for 100 bells on Sunday. He bought God knows how many of them. Not a crazy amount. I think he bought like 20,000 bells worth, right? And he stored them in his house because obviously he's seen me doing that. And then I woke up yesterday, so it was yesterday morning. He turned around and went, "Sold my turnips.
Oh no!
I got 12,000 bells for them." And I was like,
"Fuck!
They're selling for 60 odd." Harry, why have you done that? He said, "Well, because I got 12,000 bells for them." I said, "Yeah, but you bought them for 100, and you've sold them for 70 or whatever it was."
Oh my god!
You've lost money. How have I lost money? Now, trying to explain this to a 6-year-old is unbelievable, Sean. Here's how the conversation went. How have I lost money? Well, because you spent 20,000, you got 12,000. So I've got 12,000. I've got more money than I had this morning. And I went, "Harry, right, let me look." And I picked up one of his toys and I said, "Say I bought this for £1. So I've got £1 and I've bought it. So I've given my £1 to this person and I've got the toy. Then I sell it to you for 50p. You give me your 50p. Now I've only got 50p, whereas before I had £1. So I've lost money on it. I've lost 50p. You haven't lost 50p. You got 50p there." "No, I know I've got 50p here, but I should have had £1. Yeah, but you bought that toy with it. I know I bought the toy with it, but then I sold you to this for 50p. Now I've lost 50p. You haven't lost 50p. You've got it." And I just went, "Forget it. Do what you want. Just buy the fucking turnips and sell them for fuck all the next day. What do I care?" But yeah, no. So we've had quite a frustrating experience with it this week. I do like it though. I mean, I'm exactly the same as you, Matt. I've been at several points where I've gone, "I'm going to chill out with this now. I'm going to kind of stop this now and just let Harry crack on with things." And then the next morning something happens and I'm like, "Okay, right, I'm going to get my head down and do this."
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about it last week because I think the news actually came out just after we finished recording, but the April update dropped last week and there's like so much stuff in here,
I'm
Hedges,
never
mate.
watching that shit again.
Why?
I'm never watching those because it's like, here's what's going to happen in Animal Crossing over the next month. I don't want to know. Wouldn't it be wicked if I woke up and there was just this art dealer
Well, yeah,
there?
because that's
And now
obviously
I know,
previously that's how it worked. Like,
Yeah, it
just,
was.
stuff would just
but
happen.
I mean, I know that you know. I assume this art dealer was in previous games and stuff like that, so you know that stuff. But so you know that stuff's coming, but I don't, and it would be quite nice.
Oh yeah,
to
but
just
even knowing it's coming, like we wouldn't have known the particulars of it, or at what point is he going to show up?
I get that.
So not watching the direct or paying attention, it still would have been a cool surprise. Whereas, they seem to be announcing all this stuff beforehand now.
The art stuff is great. I really like how that's done. So for those of you that might be interested, that's not playing it, for maybe the one person, there's an art dealer turns up and it's all real art. And your museum expands to take the art. However, this art dealer is also selling fake art. So you've got to find This was crazy as well. Matt, you sent like a grid, like an image with a grid with which ones to buy and which ones not to buy. And I thought, isn't part of the fun going to look at the original art and checking it against the art that you're being sold in the game and making sure it's the right one?
I just saw on Discord. I thought it'd be useful.
I'm just trying to fucking help. What's wrong with that?
It's just different mentality in it, I guess. But so we were sitting there going through all the art and we bought the right one. Is it once a week you buy the art?
I don't know.
I think so.
Isn't it every 4 days he turns up, I think?
Oh, every 4 days.
Because I completely missed it.
Also,
I've still not got the art bit at my museum or anything yet.
See, and I thought I could game this, in the way of like, because of all the Switches I own, obviously. I thought, great, I can try and get some more art. I can just go to someone else's one and just try and get that.
James Farley, you are using your family as like some sort of. I mean, this is shocking.
Doesn't work though. It's I tried. You get into like the ship, and then he's like, "Oh, you're only allowed to buy one piece of art a day, even if you bought it. If you bought it from somewhere else, you can't buy it from here." I was like,
I remember you.
I was like, nuts. That's a grand down the drain. It's like a complete waste of money.
Just to let you know, James Farley, my boat is faster than your plane, and I have come directly to this island from yours. Yes, I know. I've been enjoying Animal Crossing, but we've spoken about it enough. That's all you got, Matt?
I mean, I don't know where the next big game is coming from. I looked at the list and I was like, oh, hang on, Gears Tactics. And actually, that got some good reviews, but that's PC only for now.
What's that? Give Me the Moon. I suggest you look at that. Is it Give Me the Moon?
Oh, is it Give Us the Moon?
Give Us the Moon.
No.
Have you not heard of this? All right, don't look it up. It's on Game Pass. Download it and play it for next week.
Trouble is, I don't want to play anything else apart from Animal Crossing, but I'll force myself to do something else.
Matt, this is right up your street.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
It's right up your street.
It does look really cool. I was thinking of checking it out, but yeah.
Yeah. Don't look it up. Don't look at trailers or whatever. Just download it on Game Pass and give it a blast, because I'd be glad. It's a brand new game. It's launched on Game Pass, and I think it's available on other things. But yeah, I saw the trailer and I was like, Matt needs to play this. So for me, I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. I've got to say, Chapter 9 should come a little bit later, I think. So we're talking about the craziness of Chapter 9 or whatever. Chapter 11 tries to be really sincere, and it can't deal with that tone shift that well. You know what I mean? So, I mean, have you played any more of it?
I haven't. No, just not had time.
It's the new
Yakuza. I'm happy to spread it out.
Okay, well, all right.
I've been spreading out Yakuza 0 for 2 years. So.
Yeah, there's some real sincere moments in Chapter 9. That's the one with the ghost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, not Chapter 9, Chapter 11. And I was kind of like, after everything we've been through in Chapter 9, I'm not too sure. Also, Chapter 10 was shit. This whole sewer thing I thought was awful. But yeah, I think it's going to start picking up again. So there's no chance of me stopping now, because I do really like playing it. But the problem is, every night I'm playing bloody pro clubs, and it's ridiculous. Like, me and my mates are a group of people that like playing games that are satisfying because of how well you're playing. Right, that is it. Like, that's what we like doing. FIFA is the polar opposite of that, where you launch a game and it's like you're trying to work out. Like, when the game is shifting against you. Like, all of a sudden, normal passes just won't be made. You'll have a shot from 3 yards out and it will hit the post. It's.
Did I ever tell you the time when it went into extra time for mine, and it was ridiculous? because
Yeah,
it was
yeah, you did,
it was
yeah.
really clear that they wanted the other team had to score, and it said 2 minutes added time. It was honestly about 4 or 5 minutes of real time. It just went on, and the clock just kept going up and up and up, and it's like they've added 20 minutes to this. It's just it's
Imagine
ridiculous.
doing that, right? You're doing that against that was against the AI, right?
Yeah.
Right. Imagine doing that, knowing that you're playing 5 guys who are definitely pricks. It's definitely happening because every time they score, they watch their fucking replays and they're doing tricks constantly. It's just ridiculous. But at the same time, I think the reason why I'm playing this is partly because that's what all my mates are playing at the moment. It's all we care about. In the evenings, that's what we do. I think half of it is missing football, right? And this has that feeling of, are they going to win? Are they going to lose? And watching the drama throughout the game, even though it's fake, false shit drama. And I think part of it is that because the only people I really speak to throughout the day are my kids and my wife, that I'd rather not just sit and play a single player game in the evening. I'd rather have a chat with my mates. And that's why I'm really struggling to sit down and play more Final Fantasy in the evenings or drum up the motivation to sit and play a single player game. And I think genuinely it sort of hit home this week where I was kind of I think it was, what was it, Sunday night? I said, right, work in the morning, I'm absolutely shattered. I'm going to just avoid FIFA tonight and get an early night in. And then I sat there and Jo said she was going to bed and I was like, actually all my mates are chatting. Maybe I should just jump on for a couple of games. And it sort of hit me that actually this thing is affecting me in terms of social interaction as well. You know what I mean? It's a bit of an eye-opener. So I think that's where I'm at with that. I also did start South Park Fractured Butthole.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't got much to say. I mean, I played through the intro and just, it's really funny. It's just really funny, even down to the obvious jokes, like in the loading screens where it has tips and you start to read it. If you're struggling with the combat, then probably learn how to play this game a little bit better, and stuff like that. There's a bit, I don't mind spoiling little jokes here and there because this is in the first half an hour to an hour. There's a bit where you get to the first boss fight, which isn't really a boss fight, it's just a tutorial area, and it sort of builds it up and the music's all building up and then you start attacking and it's explaining different things that this enemy can do, and it's you need to avoid these grids, squares when they're built because they're building up to a powerful attack, so avoid that. And then all of a sudden you're just about to do a move and then all the kids stop and go, car and they all go off to the pavement and then the car drives past and then they all go back out into the road and the battle continues. And because it is just, kids playing a game, that's the whole idea behind it. It's just jokes like that. I think it's great. I love South Park anyway. I think it's really good. And I think if you hate South Park, this isn't going to convince you that the humour is actually more than meets the eye, but it nails it. It fucking nails it. And it looks incredible on the fucking Switch because it just looks like an episode of South Park. You know what I mean? So although, because it's all stylized and it looks exactly like an episode of South Park, coming out of a handheld console, you're like, fuck me, this is mental. One problem though, loading times is shocking. I don't know if this is just on the Switch. I'd be surprised if it was because, it is only a download game,
it wouldn't be the first time. Off the top of my head, my time at Portia was a fucking nightmare on the Switch for that. Which is a shame because it's a perfect game for the Switch, but yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, it's that's a concern because it is it's not just when you're entering battles, it's also when you're going into certain parts of the town or whatever. Right. A big a decent chunk of it is loaded in, but then you'll go on to somewhere that just looks like part of the town, but then it goes to a loading screen and it sits on that loading screen for quite a while. I wonder how irritating that will get. But I'm not going to rush back to it this week, but it's certainly going to be played because I just it's making me laugh a lot.
Because this was on sale, wasn't it? How much did you get it for?
£9.
Oh, fair dues.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so not bad. And I loved the Stick of Truth. Did you ever play that?
I didn't.
Sean?
No, I heard very good things. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
just
well,
as you say. It's like yes, it is an episode of South Park, but a lot of the jokes, as you say, they rely on the interactivity and they make use of it. It's not you play a bit of a game and then there is essentially a cutscene that's like a bit of South Park. It's all written like for a game.
Well, there's some really intelligent jokes in it. Like I say intelligent, but clever jokes. You know, like when you go to there's a bit where you go to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You leave South Park and you go to Canada, but the moment you enter Canada, it's an 8-bit like Zelda-looking, JRPG, like rather than the style that you've been used to. And it's got like fetch quests and all this. It takes all old elements of RPGs and puts them in that one area of the game. Like it's such a piss take. And then of course there's the ridiculous stuff like I think you get shrunk at one point and then you have a fight on someone's mum and dad's bed and that while they're having sex. So like there's bits during the battle where you have to avoid testicles flying across the screen and stuff. It's all shit like that, but it's just so funny. I'll definitely play more of that.
Cool.
And last thing, I played Super Mario Party over the weekend. I forgot how good that is for a Mario Party game.
That's a great game. I
It really
enjoyed that
is.
a lot. Yeah.
It really is. We all know that it's bullshit. If a team is really lagging behind and they go, "Oh, we've got this guy who's going to predict who wins. I predict this person will win," and it's always the one in last place. Here's a bonus star. Why? But who cares? Me and Harry have been playing it as a team. Like we play 2-on-2, like us two versus the computer. And I know Giant Bomb have done it, but I would kill to do like a really long session of that with you guys. It'd be great. I do like that game. Right, okay. That's enough for what we've been playing. Should we get on to emails?
Aye. If you want to send us an email, send it to podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Reese has emailed us. He says, "Hi all, recently streamed on Twitch for the first time ever so that one of the members of our usual gaming sessions could watch along while caring for his new baby. He was really grateful and we had a great time on Vigor and Journey to the Savage Planet. I happened to notice a few times that my viewers went from 1 to 2 and I got 2 new followers after the stream. Obviously I got super excited when a new viewer joined. My question is, when did you stop getting that burst of excitement from a new viewer or sub, or did it ever stop?" It's always nice, right? Even when it's just recurring ones, it doesn't have to be a new. Like I think, obviously, by now we know a lot of the names of people who generally turn up to our streams. But yeah, like the fact that it's not like you just sub and then it's a recurring thing. It's like you have to come back every month and do it again. So the fact that people remember and still do it, like even if it's a name you're familiar with, it's still really cool whenever it happens.
I don't think I hope it never stops being like great, a nice little feeling when you see someone. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter how many people are watching or subbing or following or whatever. It's great. Yeah, I'll hope I never stop loving that. Yeah,
and obviously it is just fucking polite to say thank you, but no, like, genuinely every time it's like, hey, it's so like, oh, brilliant, they've subbed again, cool. It's always really nice.
I never stop being grateful that anybody just shows up. It's just amazing because I just think, I'm just really happy when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like, it makes things a lot better. It's great.
And then within moments, you're telling everyone to shut up because you've already tried checking the jacket. And when it comes to podcasting, I'm not as well, I don't really know the Twitch world that much, but when it comes to podcasting, as much as I love it when anyone gets in contact with the show, but I do get an extra kick when you see a name you've not seen before or a Twitter avatar you've not seen before, and you're like, "Oh man, that's cool! Someone new's joined in."
Yeah, definitely.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone new's joined the club, and also to those people that aren't part of the community in that way and do not contact us. That's cool as well, like it's not a thing, because I know the vast majority of our listeners have never contacted us or sent us a tweet or maybe even follow us on Twitter or whatever. It's that's, I don't know, I kind of like that as well.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's easy to be like, well, why not? Why don't they follow us? Why don't they email in? But of course, I've never emailed into a podcast apart from...
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, the vast majority of podcasts I listen to, I don't email in. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm kind of like that. But when they do finally, if someone does finally take that time.
Yeah.
Like when you get an email that says, "Oh, I've been listening since Joypod or whatever," and first email, I'm like, "Oh, that is fucking brilliant. I love that. That's really cool." So yeah, in short, you never lose that buzz, really.
And equally, like,
It's nice.
there are people who have been around all that time, and it's amazing that they have stuck around for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's cool.
like, they're like, obviously,
Definitely.
it's always great meeting people at EGX and stuff, but there are some that, like, they don't even have to introduce themselves. I'll see them up from a distance. It's like, hey, fucking hell, it's you. Like, and that's really cool as well. So yeah,
It was at EGX when Nick Parton come up to me and went, "Hi, Dave, it's Nick Parton." I was like, "What the fuck? Oh my god, you Mr. Tits!" Fantastic, yeah.
Right, I also got Lars Hedderdam says, hearing how Matt plays Animal Crossing was really fun to me. The description of entering his house, which is empty apart from millions of turnips, reminded me of that one uncle, the one who just needs a break and things will be better and we can finally all get furniture. Question is, if Matt was to be a fixer / pusher / hustler in real life, what would he be hoarding and trying to sell?
Everything.
Electric skateboards.
I mean, surely you just have one of them apps where you can just do the stocks. Are you into crypto, Matt?
Yeah, I've got crypto, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
Oh, God, yeah.
Easy answer.
He used to talk to us a lot about his cryptocurrency stuff.
He did, yeah.
Until it crashed, and then he never mentioned it again. How did that
still
work
got
out,
it,
Matt?
But it's a 10-year plan.
Yeah, but is it worth significantly less than what you've
probably,
invested
but
into
it's
it?
like it's half the fun, isn't it? Like the investing and like getting wrapped up in it. I love that. It's worth.
What you need to
I
do,
never
Matt,
intended on
is-
withdrawing it. I should check now, actually.
What you need to do, Matt, is get Harry to explain it to you. You'll be rich. You'll be guys, I sold it all and I got 50p. I'm loaded. It's free money.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, the truth is,
That's it.
anything to make money, anything to make a quick buck. I'm basically like a Dell boy without the upfront capital.
Absolutely.
I'm anything to make money, really. Although I will say I've got loads of things in my house now, so my house is tip top. It's not perfect, but there's things inside it. Kitchen's done, podcast rooms getting there, bathrooms getting there.
They're fair dues, and your village in general is amazing.
I've done so much since you've been there.
So...
I'm not really allowing visitors.
Yeah,
until,
so you were saying.
It could be a multi-year project.
Right, last email. Maria Mendieta says, after listening to your excellent chat last week, questions began to stir in my mind about innovations in gaming. The other day I came across my CD copy of Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield for the PC. It mentioned realistic ragdoll physics as a selling point on the box. Are there any game features that you found impressive back then but laughable today?
I mean, we've had this example a million times, and it's maybe doesn't answer the question perfectly, but you know what, you get what you're given. It's like the whole idea of like scanning your face into games, but people don't bother these days.
I'm
do
still
they?
well up for that though.
But I think it would be cool. But why doesn't anyone do it? Is it because the cameras aren't connected in every house anymore? And unless you got PSVR, you wouldn't have the PlayStation.
Maybe it's just
more issues, as James said last time. I think it's moral issues because most games are shooters. And,
yeah, there is.
you know what I mean? Just scanning people's faces in the people ain't going to be just scanning their own faces in, are they? If you could do that,
that's true. Celebrities and stuff. Yeah.
It's just the area you don't want to get into.
But yeah, I think you're right, Matt. I think it's like the fidelity of most cameras now actually doesn't match up with the detail you get on most in-game characters. I think it would be really jarring.
Yeah, shame really.
Maybe that's the issue. But
features, going back to the question though, Soldier of Fortune.
Oh yeah,
you could just shoot bits off.
Shoot the glasses off.
It's like, okay, all right. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the time, I was like, "Fucking what? Yes!" But now you look back at it, and you're going, "All right, Jesus."
It was. Maybe this is just me being a bit squeamish. So Max Payne 3. When you kill like the last guy in a room and it does that slow-mo pan around, then getting shot in slow motion, like that was always in Max Payne. That wasn't a new idea, but I Max Payne 3, I was like, nah, come on now, this is just a bit weird.
Well,
I don't know.
It's not as weird as the stuff in Sniper Elite,
oh,
though,
that's
is
true.
it?
God, yeah.
And also like the fatalities in the Mortal Kombat.
You could You could blow up their testicle with a sniper bullet. Like, it was like...
Pop Hitler's testicle.
Was it that Hitler, when you shot Hitler, he only had one ball?
Yeah,
I think that was in there.
Hilarious.
For Christ's sake.
But that, like the violent stuff, this is one of the things I said about the Order 1886. You know, there's like the way he stabs people. It's like, that's a bit much. Like, you don't need to do that. There's no need for that at all.
I mean, I think in terms of like a lot of games used to sell themselves on how long they were, right? Like games would be like over 60 hours gameplay, which now just sounds like a fucking curse.
Well, yeah, because I was thinking like you used to get that with like PC games and stuff like that with like CDs. They'd be like on 4 CDs or whatever, and it's like that.
The amount of CDs that are on it. Yeah.
Pain in the ass.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, whereas now it'd be, it's 200 gigs. Oh, for fuck's sake. No, fuck that.
That's it.
I think that's answered the
That
question.
is it for emails.
Tweets then, Matt.
Yeah, it's at Computer Game Pod if you want to tweet us. Michael Fox, Michael's tweeted in. Remembering how good 1 versus 100 was on the 360, now we're perfect time to bring it back.
Yeah,
I mean, didn't we mention that a couple of weeks ago?
Anyway,
Microsoft make a killing. With such
it
a
was a while
we
ago,
definitely
but
mentioned
we've talked
why
about
don't they bring it back,
haven't we? Because we all loved it. I think.
Yeah.
Microsoft will make a killing with such a captive audience. What game shows do you think would be perfect to be digitised in the post-coronavirus world? We're in a current coronavirus world, Michael. David's catchphrase isn't allowed. I mean,
going for gold.
Yeah,
going for gold.
Any of the classics.
Catchphrase, baby. Let's get the catchphrase going.
Was that just great because it felt new at the time? Like especially in today as well, where we had things like, what's that? That HQ, is it Quiz HQ or whatever it's called?
Yeah,
Trivia HQ.
One
that on like consoles or something like that, like a real time, massively multiplayer type quiz thing. Like, I'd be up for that. I mean, obviously there was an experiment and they stopped it for a reason.
This sort of got me thinking, and I'm sorry, Michael, if this brings back bad memories. I was thinking about The Chase. The fact that it's a show where you've got one person who's an expert against the contestants who are all regular people. And the obviously the fun is like, can a bunch of normal people beat this one incredibly talented person? Has there ever been a thing like a game where it's like one like esports pro versus a load of just enthusiasts, and they've got to work together to take them down? Because that would be cool.
No, but that sounds great.
We did something work that for that exact idea.
Okay.
We'd had like we had like an esports team. I don't know if I should be talking about this. Who cares? Had like an esport, like a professional. I think they're like CS:GO esports team, and they did airsoft versus loads of airsoft. Well, not professionals, but people did airsoft every weekend. Yeah. We got absolutely destroyed, of course. But yeah. But yeah, I would love to see more stuff like that for sure. And other people have done it, definitely.
If you like that idea, definitely go onto YouTube and search 3 professional football players versus, I don't know, was it like 50 kids? It's just one of the funniest videos you'd ever see.
That does sound good.
It's like 58-year-olds and then 3 pro football players playing against each other, and you just see them passing the ball between the 3 of them, and like it's just a rush of kids like rushing over. When they get to the goal, have you not seen this?
No, it sounds good though.
I'll send you the video because when they get near the goal, it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. But yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Also, hi Michael, how you doing? I hope you're doing all right. I was only fucking around at the start there. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. All right, okay.
MD Quibuffs, what hobbies would you like to get into if you had the time and money?
We've done this.
That's the annoying thing right now, isn't it? Because people are like, people have always said, "Oh, if I had the time, I would bloody." Now we've got time. We're like, oh no, too stressful.
I haven't got time though. I've got a kid.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I haven't got time.
Everyone's like, just sitting around playing MMOs all day. Oh, good for you.
What? Yeah, but what hobby would you want to get into? Have we spoken about that?
Yeah, because we talked about like.
I don't want any more.
Isn't this how the yo-yo thing came up?
I think it might have been, yeah.
And because we had a conversation, I said like I'd like to get back into photography. Dave, you said you wanted to get back into films like properly.
Yeah. But is that a hobby? I guess.
Get into films, like acting.
Yeah.
Get into Hollywood, baby.
Do you know what I did say to Joe the other day? What is it? Because we were watching Afterlife Series 2, which is a appalling. I think I'm halfway through it, and I think he's a fucking terrible. It's awful. But they've got like the scenes with amateur dramatics thing, and part of me was going, I'd love to do that. You know what I mean? And not give a shit about it. You know, like, because obviously amateur dramatics comes with a lot of, you know, laughing at. You know what I mean? It's not like a cool thing to do. It's always looked down upon and taken a piss out of or whatever. But I don't care about anything like that anymore, like what anyone thinks. So it'd just be good to just go up and just do a bit of acting and just meet these characters.
That was on my list
these
to
people
try a
that
bit
are
of that,
interested.
but never.
Really, bit of acting.
Well, I just thought it'd be good to give it a go at least, you know, see what it's like. But
well, maybe we can give it a go next time we get together. We could do some, you know, do some workshops.
No, what we'll do is we'll start
together.
now, and then when lockdown happens, we'll say, yeah, which one of us has got into a Hollywood movie, and that person wins.
Oh, you know what we should do? Next time we're together, right? Someone's got to like suggest a scene, and then we do it, we film it, and then but we take it like really seriously. Like we try our best with the acting, and we try and recreate a scene from a film.
Yeah,
and
I mean, we could do that anyway, and just
one...
record it at home and put it on YouTube channel.
I prefer Matt's idea of just showing up one day and being like, "Yeah, so I'm the new Harry Potter." Turns out,
Harry Potter with an edgy one.
Maybe we can do the Rose Jack thing where I'm drawing you naked, Matt.
Don't do,
maybe
maybe
that's
don't do that.
Maybe if you just sit down.
Let's not do that. What?
James, didn't it?
That was very Jimmy Carr.
So I just got this image of like Matt laying down on a sofa with the beard and everything, and you drawing him. It's just
his toes poking out of his socks.
Oh, yeah, they did.
What would your hobby be? James, just pick one if you had to. I know you're going, I don't want to. I've learned everything.
I don't feel I'm on top of the ones I've got at the moment. Like more, I don't really want to know.
Ditch
I
some
see
of them.
you as someone
Get
like
new ones.
what is it like war recreation things?
No, I hate all that
Well,
stuff.
Yeah, where you turn up,
LARPing, yeah.
dress up. Yeah.
Not
No,
into
it's
that.
different, isn't it? From LARPing's different from the, you know, the war reenactment things.
yeah.
James Larpy.
Do you know, I have a friend who is back from like high school, and he does like reenactments and stuff. And like we're not really into like we got each other on Facebook. We don't really talk anymore. He's a good guy, but he does reenactments and stuff. And for a long time, I was like, I don't get it, but whatever. It's his hobby, right? Who cares? And then another friend of ours actually joined the army, and suddenly it's like, oh, you're just like pretending to do what another of us actually does. And suddenly it seemed really weird.
Yeah, it does seem a bit weird. I don't quite get it either, but whatever. There's worse things to be into. Let's face it.
Like, obviously,
the fucking
it's
games
completely
James
harmless.
Farley downloads and plays. I just, you know.
Do you know? I'll
Right.
tell you what. I saw something just a minute ago that I'll tell you about after the show because it's
That's
insane.
really good content
No,
for the
you're going
listeners,
to tell us
James.
now,
Thanks.
James.
James, tell us now.
You're
You
gonna tell
mentioned
us
on the
now?
show. You're telling us now.
Yeah, you've got to do that now.
So there's a game on the
Yeah,
eShop.
go on.
And
I mean, why are you on your
I-
Switch
okay.
during the show? But okay.
I haven't downloaded it yet.
Well,
you're on your
I
Switch,
saw
so-
the name.
You're on the Switch.
Well, of
No,
course
not
he
the
is.
Switch.
He's on the
It's on the
eShop.
website, isn't it? It's on the website.
Well,
It's
stop.
the eShop on the website.
Yeah, bollocks. Absolute. But I know for a fact, James, it's probably easier just to get your Switch and you look on there.
It's not. I can show you
He's
now.
not-
You
to
should
be
be on there
fair-
anyway,
to be
James. We're doing
fair,
a podcast.
I've just checked. He's not online.
No, I'm not using the
Okay.
Switch. I'm just having a look at the website.
You're just
I mean, come on.
searching at why are you looking at the website then?
And then, Sean,
Come on,
why are
don't
you
start,
on your
don't
Switch?
start
Sean?
digging me out
Sean,
about this.
why are you on your
Okay,
Switch?
look, I didn't want to bring this up. I didn't
Caught you
want
there.
to bring this up. Sean's been tweeting while we've been recording this show, and I'm not saying
Fucking
anything
hell.
about that.
What are Phil's problems?
One tweet.
Is your heart not in it anymore?
Why? Are we boring you, Sean?
No. I just did. I got an email
Yep.
and did a
An
tweet.
email now?
Just reading your emails.
wasn't
You're
reading
doing, you're doing admin.
I'm doing a bit of life admin. You know,
You're doing,
That's Matt's
You're
job.
doing
doing
your ta- you're
doing
doing
the
your
accounts
tax.
and stuff. No, I just did one tweet, and it's done better than the. I think you should leave one.
Do you know what? Right, I don't care.
Oh, no.
because the whole reason why I want you to do that. If you've not seen it, if you've not seen, I think you should leave on Netflix. Then firstly, watch that. Secondly, once you've watched it, go and watch a tweet. To go and look at a tweet that Sean tweeted out on Tuesday. which is fucking perfect. I just wanted you to do it for us
because
I think it's the best thing ever.
No, I'm still looking at it and laughing. It's great.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Okay, fine.
Right. I mean, just to be clear, James, obviously you were on Twitter to see that I tweeted, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I've got to monitor the news while it's going on in case there's anything breaking.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, what's this pervy game you downloaded?
I haven't downloaded it yet. But I saw it because I was like, okay, I was tempted by the name because I saw the name and I was like, okay, so the name of the game is called Gaokao Love 100 Days, right? Now, the reason is because the Gaokao is the university entrance exam in China, and it's like a really big deal. And Chen did it, and she still has nightmares about it all the time because it's horrendous. It's like the worst. It's a horrible, horrible exam that you have to do. And so I saw the name, and I was just like, Gaokao, that's really weird. And then I found out it's a Chinese developer, and it says here, is there still room for love in these 100 days, or am I just ruining my life, or worse, her life? This is a dating simulation game based on Chinese students' real life. You can have romantic relationships with classmates, but remember, you have just 100 days while preparing for the Gaokao, the exam that may change your destiny. Keep a balance between score and romance, or just drop one and see what would happen. I think it means not drop one. I think it means like the girl or the study. There are over 10 storylines and will lead to more than 50 endings. So and it's on sale. So I thought I might have a look at that. Because it's culturally interesting.
That sounds like a stream to me.
I don't know. It's a visual novel. I'm just having a look at the picture. I'm not downloading this.
I mean, he will have that downloaded by the end of the show.
I don't want to end up on some register. I mean, it's like
I'm sorry, Matt. I don't really want to stream this because I want to have a good old wank while playing it.
I want to save it for some alone time.
James Farley. All right.
I mean, these people have definitely not taken the Gaokao. They're not old enough. It's ridiculous.
Not realistic enough.
No.
Spooky. Gary Redrop, Gatford, obviously, at Gary Show on.
Hi, Gatford, yes.
It's a simple one, but I thought I'd get it in. What's better, Nintendo Switch or the Switch Lite?
I mean, depends.
Let's give them as depends.
Depends on whether you want it on your telly or not.
No. The Nintendo Switch better, right?
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know.
No, if you don't want it on your telly, then the Switch Lite's really nice.
Of getting a Switch Lite, it's cheaper. Unless you want to save some money. The only benefit is that it's cheaper, surely. The only benefit.
No, it also feels a lot nicer to hold as well. It's like, it feels a much nicer machine than the actual Switch does.
Yeah, the Switch is better, Gary.
If you don't want to play on the TV, though, I think the Switch Lite's all right.
If you've got no interest in playing on the TV, then yes, get a Switch Lite. If you think that playing on the TV is something that you're going to be doing, then fucking hell, get the Switch because it's good. If you've not got a Switch, get one of them, definitely. And I tell you what, if you've not got Switch, then you've probably not played Breath of the Wild. Buy the Switch for Breath of the Wild. What a perfect game! Just do that. It's good.
Yep.
Good game.
Paul Beaucamp was tweeting asking if we had an experience about sending Joy-Cons off for drift-related repairs. I know you probably have, James.
Yeah, I've done that.
This week, 150 hours of Animal Crossing has finally killed my Switch, and now I finally have Joy-Con drift.
Yeah.
And
use contact cleaner. Just use contact cleaner. Don't bother sending them off. It's a waste of time.
I don't know what contact cleaner is. What's contact cleaner?
So it's a spray. You can buy it from Amazon or whatever. I think WD-40 do it, and you spray it under You can lift up the Joy-Con, there's a covering on it, and you can lift it up, and then you just spray the contact cleaner in it, move the Joy-Con around a bit, and then usually it's fine.
Do I have to take the thing apart to that?
No.
Okay.
That's the other. You don't have to take it apart.
Do that
you
then.
just spray it underneath.
Because it's not constant, because it can go left, and I can press right, and it'll stop, but it will happen every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, it fixes it every time for me. I mean, it doesn't fix it, as in it will happen again. But usually for me, it happens about every 2 or 3 months, and then I just have to spray it again. And it's easier to do that and buy new ones or whatever. Because
I know it's cheaper to do that.
I've always had trouble, and I'm like, well, I've never had trouble, and I've had the console since day one. But I guess I've been hammering it so much recently that it's finally fucked.
Yeah. I mean, you barely played the Switch up until now. That's why.
Well, not true. Famously not true.
Okay.
Famously not true. That's it for tweets.
Cool. So we're done. Do you want to do the socials?
Yeah. So James, you're back on Twitch this Friday. Is that correct?
No, don't
No,
think so.
you're taking 2 weeks off. Okay, cool.
Yeah. What's wrong with taking 2 weeks off? What's wrong with that?
Nothing, it's
No,
just
no,
funny.
nothing's wrong. I just thought you'd back this week.
Why are you having a go, Sean?
No, I'm not having a go.
What's
It's
wrong
just
with
funny. It's just that conversation. Oh, yeah, so you're doing this on Friday? Nah.
that? Come on, I've been doing them weekly for like a long time.
yeah,
I just wanted a little bit of a break, you know. I need to recharge from
Yeah, okay.
this.
So James is back. It's not going next week. It's just whenever.
Never James can be arsed.
That's not fair at all.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke. I barely streamed for like the first 3 months of this year, so I can't criticise.
I did a stream where I just got some old games out of a box. Like that's been
everyone
my
loved it. You
that's
prick.
been my
That's
Twitch
low effort bullshit, and everyone loved it.
Did they? I didn't see any comments. Where have you seen that?
It's on YouTube. It's done all right, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's done
yeah,
like
YouTube
better than most of our
comments
recent
and-
streams, I think.
I think we got an email or something.
Natural talent. Go on. I got a DM actually from someone saying, "Can I buy some of those those games that you got out?" And I need to reply and say, "Yes, you can."
Would you like them signed?
It is funny. I did, if you've not been following it, I did a stream in the week where I found a really old box of games that I hadn't looked at for ages and just pulled the games out of the box and showed them to the camera. That was it, basically. There was some GameCube games in there that I've since looked on eBay and just gone, fucking hell, these are actually quite special. Like the Beautiful Joe went for quite a bit. I had R Racing that had Pac-Man Versus with it. I also found, this wasn't in that box, but I also found a copy of Mario Kart Double Dash that came with the Zelda collection. Which was a free gift with Mario Kart Double Dash back in the day. It's crazy.
That Zelda collection's worth a lot.
Yeah,
for cash now.
just for the disc alone, it was going for 50 quid on eBay. So,
Jesus,
I'm in the money. I'm in the money. And also, my highlight was finding Gears of War 2 Special Edition, complete with picture of Dom's wife that was still in the box. So I was quite happy with that. Go on. Sorry.
Cool. So I would normally stream on Sundays, but I'm going to take a week off, mostly because I don't know what I'm streaming next. I mean,
So got to be.
I could do Resident Evil 3. I don't know. I'm not really like.
Have you played a Yakuza game?
I played a little bit of Judgment over Christmas.
See, the problem.
I'm not going to do that. That's a James.
Yeah,
thing.
I guess
That'd
the
be mad
problem
if I
with
did
playing
that.
a Yakuza on stream is that the sort of wacky stuff that would make for a funny stream doesn't come until a lot later into the game. Like that, the
there's a lot
opening
of
of the game,
cutscenes
there's a
and
lot
stuff,
of
isn't there?
dialogue, isn't there, and cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So I think I said actually on Sunday stream, I'll be back this coming Sunday, but I don't think I am. I think I want to. Like I said on stream, I said last few weeks, what am I even going to do after Metroid? Resident Evil 3 is an option, but I don't know. And then people are like, oh, maybe we should play a shit game. James always plays shit games, so I need to play a shit game. And I'm like, could do. I don't know.
You've just played one though, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. I don't know. I want this is the thing. I have obviously played and enjoyed the Souls games. I'm not going to jump into another one of them yet, but I've always said afterwards, I'm like, the next games in between Souls games, I never get the same rush and
Do you know what I would like? I mean, this
Do you know what
isn't
I'd like you to play?
an actually good idea, but I would like to see it happen. For you to just stream a load of like Souls knockoffs, because there's fucking loads of them.
Do you know, Matt? Do you know what I'd like to see you play?
Go on.
I'd like you to see you play the original Super Mario Brothers, like the NES one, because I know you've not really played those games before, and I think it'd be quite interesting to see how you get
I
on
don't
with
want to
them.
play another old shit game.
You'll say the controls are shit, James, and that'll kill you.
Hold on.
I'm not. I mean, I would like to play. One game I coveted, even though I didn't have a SNES, was it was that SNES pack. Was that Super Mario World? Was the yellow box? It had 119 levels. Oh, All Stars, that's one. Yeah,
We've spoken about that like last week.
yeah, I don't know, but I'm saying like that's a game I've just thought. I really wanted a SNES for that, but I'm not playing an old game anyway. Maybe people can tweet their suggestions.
I would
don't
like to point out that Matt just described Super Mario Brothers as old and shit. So
Yes, I know.
Well, it's on the. I don't want to play old games on the NES. I mean, I guess I could play it on Switch Online now, right?
Yeah. Well, they got the that version there, but it's I mean, for those of you that don't haven't heard the history, I've seen Matt playing a Mario game for the first time. It's incredible. I mean,
that wasn't true because I played Super Mario Land on a Game Boy fuckloads at school. And
how did you play that fuckloads at school and not know that there was a run button in Mario?
Because I haven't played 2D Mario for ages, and I didn't have didn't play them on the Wii or the Wii U. Yeah, no, I was a Sega kid, and I didn't have a Nintendo console until I got the GameCube. I played N64s, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm probably not going to stream on Sunday, or definitely not going to stream on Sunday until I really work out what I'm doing next. But please let me know your suggestions. And then Sean will be streaming Disaster Report 4 on Tuesdays.
Yes, mate.
If not Tuesday, every Wednesday, but start on Tuesday.
Except for this week when it was Monday and Friday.
Yes. Yeah, and the week before when it's Friday. But it'll be Tuesdays. But either way, you can go to twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show, or just search for us on the app or the website, and you'll find us and follow us and all the usual bits. If you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime, you have one for your sub a month. They want you to forget about it. They don't want you to sub. They would hate that. But prove them wrong and go over to our channel and give us your free sub. It doesn't cost you a penny. We're on Patreon, of course, at patreon.com/TCGS. You can get a monthly podcast, videos early, all sorts of stuff. If you just want to support us, you can drop some money in there. And there's thecomputergameshow.com for everything else. Like I said a few weeks ago, the store, you can buy stuff, but there'll be big delays, so be wary.
Right. Well, that's it then. I'm off. Have a great week. I'll see you guys later.
All right, bye, mate.
Stay safe.
See you, Dave. See you, Dave.
We'll catch you next week.
See everyone else later too.
I've got games to download.
Of course you have. I've got an island to tend to.
I was going to go to bed.
Good. Well, I've actually got an edit to do because the show's out in about 5.5 hours. Goodbye, everyone.